One thing we do know, Gerard, all that old Richmond's still in there somewhere.
It's still there. They can suppress it and push it down and bury it 6 feet under, but it still finds a way to seep up at the worst imaginable moment. You can imagine this is a time for Fremantle, the three-quarter time huddle, which Ross Lyons spent 5 minutes of right in the middle of a circle and then gathered together at the end. As you can feel, this will be their premiership campaign will reside in this moment from here on, and we'll share the song with them.
Here they go, Jared. Testament to the old adage that you play to the end of the game, boys, wasn't it? Unbelievable performance by Freo.
Doggers by 4. And the David Mundy kick, which will get overlooked, 50 metres out at the end when players were weary all around him, and he had that shot at Kardinia Park, which he missed after the siren for a win. Just a beautiful kick.
Oh, it never looked like Crozier's on the far side too. Just good reward for effort, and you have to play hard. You have to cross your T's, dot your I's. The 1%ers, play the percentages, all those type of things. And didn't play the percentage with a couple of the leaders missing goals. Bakahuli's kick inside of the corridor, because when you looked up early, you saw him. He was isolated almost in the centre square all by himself. But as you say, the Dockers almost said, "Come on, I want you to take this." By the time he let the ball hit his boot, there was 4 Dockers already sitting on that Richmond opponent, and then straight back, and you could see all the Richmond defenders clamouring, say, "Don't kick it short." And there was Mundy, and eventually had a beautiful kick on goal to win the game for him.
And it was Kane Lambert, all 178 centimetres of him. That's who he was kicking it to.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, but he's a young man. He's a young man who should be taught and told, get out of there.
Go to where the numbers are.
Correct. There's a reason why there's numbers over here, son.
You live these things whether you're emotionally invested or not.
We watch it and we continue to see mistakes made and under pressure and time on in finals. And you know how steady they are and how calm they are. Fremantle, they just keep motoring the same pace.
Fremantle by 4 points over Richmond. The crowd tonight, 39,777. The votes for the ABC Footballer of the Year to finish off.
Yeah, I gave one to Troy Chaplin. I thought Troy Chaplin was very, very good down back. I thought he was their best player by a long, long way. He repelled well. He contested possessions. I gave 2 votes to Nate Fyfe. He was injured. He played poorly. Not poorly. He played great. But he continues to fight. Even though that sets an example for his teammates of, hey, listen, you might be a bit sore, but you know what? You can get over it and get through it. And I gave 3 to David Mundy. Well, let me tell you. I don't care if he had a kick before it. The last one gives him 3 votes. He had 26 possessions. He was sensational. 14. He had 11 contested. His clearance work was good. He was terrific.
Who was the next best Docker player in your mind?
Oh, gee whiz. I suppose Hill.
So Hill will get the 1 in the Christian medal. For the ABC Footballer of the Year, 3 for David Mundy, 2 for Nat Fyfe and 1 for Troy Chaplin. It's Fremantle 12-10-82 over Richmond 10-18-78. It was set up as the match of the round. It will be the talking point for a week. It might even be the talking point for 2 months from here on, given what we saw and what it means to the course of the season. The Dockers by 4 points. Our next stop on Grandstand AFL, if you're in South Australia, is Essendon and Port Adelaide. The rest of the nation goes to the Gabba for the Brisbane Lions and North Melbourne. Time for a stiff drink.
For those of you just joining us from that bottler at the MCG, welcome to the Gabba in Brisbane for Milestone Night. Quentin Hull and the team to take you through Brisbane and North Melbourne. Boomers Night, 400 for Brent Harvey, a great friend of ours on ABC Grandstand, and he joins an elite group, a quartet now with 400 or more games in VFL, AFL history. Of course, the history of the game has plenty of other great milestones through South Australian and West Australian state footy, but as far as the AFL era post-1990, the VFL AFL records stand alone, and really it's Brent Harvey and Dustin Fletcher, the great men of longevity of their generation, joining Kevin Bartlett and Michael Tuck in that 400-game brigade. If you're just tuning in, the team news is bad news for Brisbane. Dane Beams and Piers Hanley, both late withdrawals. Beams has been struggling with the shoulder. Hanley's been struggling with lots of things this year. But of recent times, a few soft tissue injuries, and Beams and Hanley are scratching. So Hugh Beasley gets a start, and so too does Rowan Buick. So Tom Cutler's the only emergency that was named by Justin Lipich at match committee that's not playing. So in, Buick, Beasley, out, Beams, Hanley. And the sub, interestingly, is Daniel McStay. While for North, no changes, and the sub is Lindsay Thomas coming back into the seniors after 2 weeks at BFL level. Quentin Hull and Alistair Nicholson to call the action, with Craig Starcevich and Josh Fraser, with Zane Bojack on the boundary line. And we'll keep you up to date with proceedings between the Bombers and the Power as well. That game not too far away at Docklands. If you do want to hear that game, there's an ABC call available. Just get onto the Grandstand website and follow the links if you do want to hear the Bombers and Power described for your listening pleasure this evening. Just before our two gentlemen give you their preview here, a reminder of our special Boomer Weekend competition on Grandstand. All you need to do is answer one simple question to win a North Melbourne match day football signed by Brent Harvey. The question: aside from the 1999 Grand Final, what has been Boomer's favourite individual game? Now, you enter by posting your response in the comments section on Facebook, or by tweeting us the answer using hashtag ABCBoomer400 at our Twitter handle at ABC Grandstand. So, Facebook or on Twitter at hashtag ABCBoomer400. What does Boomer himself mark as his best day in footy outside of the 1999 Grand Final victory over Carlton? Now, the entries that match Boomer's actual favourite moment go into a draw, and the first drawn out wins the footy. It's strictly one entry per person. The comp is going until half-time in this game. So jump on the ABC Grandstand Facebook page or send us a tweet at ABC Grandstand using the hashtag ABCBoomer400 and you could win that footy. Gentlemen, let's get your thoughts on the contest here, which in essence is just a must-win game for North Melbourne as they quest to stay relevant in the race for the finals. And I'd suggest a night where Brisbane fans are coming and, again, just looking for a bit of accountability, a bit of honesty and a bit of a contest. Craig Starcevich, Josh Fraser, what are your thoughts?
Well, prior to Beams and Hanley being out, Josh, I was sort of giving the Lions half a chance to be competitive tonight in this contest. Let's hope they are, given the fact that North, it's not a happy hunting ground coming here. Haven't won here for near on 10 years, and that can always play in the back of your mind. They've already lost to the Gold Coast down the road about a month ago. So, who knows? This is a very inconsistent team that we're looking at. We know that North are really lacking with a little bit of on-field leadership. So the Lions would think they've got a chance to really take it up to them, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think that would be their mindset, Stars, but I just can't see any way that North Melbourne will lose the game tonight. I think given the result you spoke about down at Metricon Stadium a few weeks ago, they'd be still hurting from that. Their form's been inconsistent. They were touted as a top four side. We're yet to see that evidence consistently from this side. They've got too much to play for when you look through their side. Lindsay Thomas, I'm going to be interested to watch his game tonight. I think you'll see a different Lindsay Thomas tonight. I think it's going to be one of forward 50 pressure, staying committed to the contest, just a different look to what he's been producing. Jared Waite's an interesting player. I think he's someone that really needs to stand up. He'd be looking to cement a side as they make a launch towards the finals. And Todd Goldstein's one that gets their midfield going. So I think Brisbane early will be lively, but I think the Kangaroos class across the ground, given what they've got at stake, will be too good.
So 400 for Boomer, 100 for Atley and Wright, 200 for Jed Adcock, and 50 in Brisbane colours for Brent Staker. Milestone night's underway with Al Nicholson.
And Leuenberger with the first tap out of the middle against Goldstein. But Harvey with the first possession in his 400th. Kicks to half forward. Clark there for the Lions to punch towards the boundary line. There's a free kick, though, going North Melbourne's way in the marking contest. And Petrie's going to take it 60 metres from goal. Boomer right on cue to start his 400th. Kick goes in the Goldstein direction. Up he goes. Big spoil over the back from Leuenberger. Robinson perhaps taken without the ball for Brisbane. It's in the chop and not coming out 40 metres from goal.
He did well in young Leuenberger, but I watched Goldstein straight away get as hard forward as he can. So Leuenberger's going to have to watch that all night.
That was a worry. Lewis Taylor standing in front of Todd Goldstein.
Well, first of many hit-outs for the night for Goldstein, averaging 46 a game this year. Back of the pack, chance for Higgins. Top of the goal square, got mown down as he tried to kick on goal. And the ball rushes over the boundary line next to the behind post in the left forward pocket for North. So good closing pressure there from Zorko to prevent Higgins getting a shot on goal. And the North Melbourne chant is prominent here at the Gabba. Leuenberger got over the top of Goldstein with the ruck tap, but Cunnington received it and got tackled as soon as he got it, and it will be thrown in the air 30 from North's goal. Once again, the ruckman lock horns. Neither really gets a telling tap down. Goldstein has to do his own roving and can't burst clear. And another neutral.
Heaps of North Melbourne fans down at that eastern end on the bottom tier here for Harvey's milestone. Leuenberger the tap. And again, there's a strong tackle laid by Beasley that locks the ball in. Robinson in over the top as well. And it'll be thrown in the air 30 metres from goal. Turn of the man at the bottom of the pack. Up it goes, deep in the North Melbourne forward line. Leuenberger another win. Cunnington after it, but taken by Redden. Scrubs a ball towards the boundary line. Robertson's going to get there first for Brisbane. He's happy to see the ball out of play in front of McDonald. And it'll be tossed back in at left half back for Brisbane. So Harvey won the toss with Jed Adcock and decided to kick to the eastern or school end of the Gabba in the opening term. Up it goes. Goldstein down to the front. Rich couldn't gather. Goldstein did. He was tackled. Didn't get a meaningful possession. Del Santo out the back to Waite. Waite backtracking. He hand passes, misses a target, backs towards the wing. Wright did really well. Got it to Atley. The 100-gamers combining. Defensive hand pass all the way to half-back for Rito. He hacks a kick towards centre-half-back. Taken on the bounce eventually by Thompson after a fumble. He wants to go back to the Stanley Street side, and he's done it really well. This will be marked by Cunnington, the best and fairest of last year's centre wing.
So Brisbane hasn't got the ball as North went from half forward to half back and back to the wing. Cunnington's kick to a sliding Waite, who takes a mark hard on the boundary at right half forward, too far out to score.
North Melbourne player taken to the interchange too, guys. Just keep an eye on that one.
Waite kicks inside 50, finds a target. Gibson gets to the drop and takes an uncontested chest mark 45 from goal. Zane Bajak on the boundary.
Yeah, it's Sam Wright, guys. He's really struggling, it looks, with his left knee. So we'll keep you updated on what's happening.
Which is a really bad turn of events for the young man in his 100th game from the Picola League around the border region of New South Wales, Victoria. Now, here's the kick on goal from Gibson. Tough angle from about 45 out, just on the near side. First score of the night. It's a behind to North in perfect conditions. Oh, and the kick in, though, has gone straight to the whippet Kane Turner. That's a horrendous mistake from Brisbane. And speaking of that border region, a man from the Tallangatta League originally, Kane Turner. Kiwar, Sandy Creek. I remember working a few games there for the Daily Advertiser in the Tallangatta League.
The Hawks, aren't they, Q?
Oh, what a good group of people they are in that part of the world. And Turner, well, he's missed from point-blank range, really. 30 out, slight angle to the right. That's a behind. 2 points to North as Rich kicks in.
Rich to himself and out to the flank. Christensen takes the mark. He too's had a bit of a shoulder complaint and was a chance to be withdrawn as well tonight. Beams missing with a shoulder, Hanley with a hamstring. Poor kick, Mays gathers on the bounce. Harvey nailed him, but it spills Brisbane's way. Lewis Taylor, short pass inside defensive 50. Merritt's taken the mark. He's got Harris Andrews out towards the wing, but he can't get it that far. That is a terrible kick. Ball bounces in front of Waite. He can't gather. Clark's a chance, but pushed off it by Waite on the 50. Defensive hand pass to Petrie. He shanks a kick inside the 50. Andrews got it, gave to Ace to Redden on, then he's taken coat hanged by Waite. Free kick play onto advantage, and Clark goes up the wing to a one-on-one. Thompson over the back of Buick, spoils, Swallow roves, gives to Zeeble on the wing. Over the top with the hand pass to Thompson, takes on Buick, brushes him off, he's near the boundary line. Adcock didn't come initially, and he's able to get the kick up towards half forward. Punched over the line by Beasley, who almost got in a tangle there with Justin Clark, the two young defenders for Brisbane. It's out of play at left half forward for North Melbourne. The Kangas by 2 points, 5 minutes in.
And it was Freo by 4 points with a late David Mundy goal, sinking the Tigers' hearts, the MCG. Throw in attacking 50 for North. Del Santo roves and puts a rushed left boot towards full forward. Hits the deck. The bounce evades Brown, picked up by Merritt. He's tackled by Petrie. Merritt gets a hand pass away to the safety of the boundary line. It's out of play and will be thrown in 30 from North's goal.
There's a lot of North Melbourne supporters here. There was some talk about putting it off for a week, wasn't it? Boomer's 400th, but looks like they've all come for the trip.
Well, the boundary throw-in was taken clean by Leuenberger, and he didn't know what to do with it and handed it straight to Dal Santo. The ball splashed outside, attacking 50 for North, though. Controlled by the Kangas. Higgins' hand passed there, hoping for McDonald. Couldn't handle. Brown came in. Couldn't really get a toe to it. Messy ball, 50 from North Melbourne's goal. A pack forms. Buick tries to burst clear of it. He's tackled by Attlee, and the umpire said, "You tried, won't succeed. I'll sort it out." And throw it in the air, 45 from the Kangas' goal.
It's going to be the side that can just settle. I think Stars just be able to execute their skills. Both sides a little bit sloppy early, and there's a bit of heat around the contest.
Tap down taken by Rich. He kicks up the Vulture Street wing. Martin tries to edge out the man in front in Tarrant. He did well, Tarrant. Worked it towards Bastanak. Bastanak to McDonald. Tackled by Martin, but got the hand pass. Going forward off the boot of Thompson. Good mark, though, by Mays on the half-back flank for Brisbane. Sam Mays. A hand pass round the back to little Lewis Taylor. He's not sure what to do with it. He's looking backwards. His kick is very poor. Wanted Rich, didn't get there. Taken by Petrie. Petrie kicks the first from 30 out. And that was the most horrendous of skill errors from Lewis Taylor. You could see the inertia written all over his face as he looked for an option and then made a very poor decision. Missed Daniel Rich. And Drew Petrie will scarcely kick an easier goal in his career. North by 8 points at the 7-minute mark of the opening term. 1-2-8, Brisbane yet to score.
I think when you take an intercept mark like that, Sam Mays, I mean, that's a chance to settle the group, not play on straight away. Yeah. And Louis Taylor's run around the back for the wraparound hand pass, and it sort of puts your whole defence under pressure from that point on, unless you hit a target, and Louis didn't.
The only inside 50 that Brisbane has had, was not a statistical one, was when North kicked it back into defence. 6 inside 50s to nothing in favour of the Kangas. Centre bounce. Christensen with the clearance for Brisbane. Hand passes to Buick under pressure. He's got Redden in support. Redden's under pressure. Tackled by Harvey against Boomer for too high.
Gee, I thought Redden fended high myself, but anyway.
So Redden's got the free kick for Brisbane. Just on the northern edge of the centre square. He chips back into the middle of the ground. Mark taken by Dawson.
Not sure about that kick. I think when you can go inside 50 and get a contest, that's where you want to go.
Spot on.
Dawson to the southern wing for Merritt. He marks. Kicks further upfield. Mark taken by Clark. Just forward of the wing. Out on the southern side for Brisbane. The Lions looking to get inside 50 for the first time in the game. And Clark's going to bang it high and long. That's a raking right foot drop punt in the Staker direction. Great use of the body from Ferrito, though. Takes a fine defender's mark for North in the right back pocket. Boundary line, Zane Bojack.
Yeah, good news for Kangaroos fans. Sam Wright's able to put weight back on that left leg. Looked like it was a calf problem, but the medicos have unlocked it for him, and he should be back on soon.
And 3 early goals to Essendon at Docklands. 3 straight to Port's 1 straight.
It's going to be tossed back in at left half forward for Brisbane. Leuenberger and Goldstein lock up. Martin over the back. That didn't seem fair, but you need 2 big men to take on Todd Goldstein the way he's going. Ball's gone out of play on the Stanley Street side.
It's probably one area of the game, Al, that Brisbane might be okay in the rucks tonight, because Goldstein being as good as he is, to have Martin and Leuenberger going at him. Not
it's
a bad
deliberate
thing.
tactic, because he's third man up again, Martin, and North would try to almost shepherd him away from the contest there. There's a free kick going North Melbourne's way to Dal Santo. Advantage paid to Higgins round the boundary line. Sells some candy from the wing. He kicks to half forward. A beautiful pass onto the chest of Brown. Delivery like that would delight a forward, but his kick is well smothered by Clark and goes out of play, attacking side of the wing for North Melbourne.
He's important to him, Ben Brown, I think, just as an extra tall forward target phrase.
He's overtaken Aaron Black, hasn't he, for that role, so he's a key with Petrie getting on.
He's in the ruck contest and wins the ball there. Hand pass out the back to Gibson. Now in the hands of Thompson for North on the wing. He'll kick towards half forward. Very wide kick. With Cunnington to cover the beat. Does brilliantly to win the ball. Hand pass to Dal Santo. Kick from 60 to the goal mouth. Petrie spoiled by Merritt at the last moment. Petrie keeps his foot. Waite arrives. Now Petrie goes to ground level. Merritt's over him. Waite keeps it alive in the pocket. And now he's shunted over and out of play.
Played for a free kick there, Jared Waite, and he just needed to keep his feet and stay over the footy, and he might have got a shot on goal, but went to ground and stoppage inside 50.
So Leuenberger versus Brown, a shallow throw in. Brown taps it and roves it and goals it! On the snap, the left foot on a tight angle from 25 metres out. Ben Brown, just for a moment, looked like Boomer Harvey. And North Melbourne leads by 14 points at the 11-minute mark, and that's saying something.
Are you referring to Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito or something in a Twins context there?
2-2-14, Brisbane yet to score. That was wonderful work from Ben Brown. Rove his own ball and snap from hard in the pocket. Curl it through on the non-preferred. Move over Boomer. We've got a new crummer in the forward line.
That was good, wasn't it?
Well, and he was left out of the team for Majak Daw the last time North Melbourne came to Queensland, which was only a couple of weeks ago. But Daw got subbed out in that game, and the experiment didn't last long. Centre clearance for Brisbane. Mitch Robinson puts his boot to it and kicks the Lions to half forward. Nick Robertson's the target. Couldn't take the footy. Under pressure from Gibson, who wins the ball. Hands it out the back to to Thompson. Thompson kicks towards the wing. Petrie couldn't handle. Won by Dawson of Brisbane. He runs forward of the wing. Terrible kick inside 50 to a pocket. Was nowhere near the leading forward in Buick out there. It goes over the boundary line and out of play. Had a few other shorter options there, but does get a neutral in the forward pocket with that kick. Thrown in with Brisbane in attack. At the back of the pack, clean possession, Steph Martin. Rush kick on goal from 30. Straight enough. Is it long enough? Yes. It pitched on the goal line. There was some shepherding help to keep North defence away from the ball. And that's an ugly first major of the night for Brisbane. Steph Martin, the man to kick it. North 2-2, Brisbane 1 straight. Meanwhile, at Docklands, it's Essendon 3-1 leading Port 1 straight early on there.
Similar to Ben Brown's.
Yeah, I was going to say so.
But not. Didn't quite have the follow-up and gather, but it was, around the stoppage and a snap on goal.
Absolutely. No, it's, they're worth their weight in gold, big boys that can go forward, and although they were from stoppages, just, clever enough to snap it around his body. Brown's goal was terrific, but that reply from Martin was important. So hopefully that just gives the Lions a bit of a kickstart. The Kangaroos early have been all over them.
Martin and Goldstein eyeball one another in the middle. Wonky bounce will be recalled. It was taken on the chest by Goldstein.
It's going to be a really good contest, I think. Martin and Goldstein, and throw Leuenberger in there from time to time.
Goldstein a win there, but slapped by Christensen, taken by Rockcliffe. Tumble punt towards half forward. Coming the other way to meet it for North Melbourne was Thompson. Goes through Jacobs by hand to Bastanak. Good hand pass on the outside to the wing for Higgins. He's usually a beautiful kick. Goes to the pocket for Petrie. Hot on his hammer is Clark of the Lions. And it's gone out of play in the right forward pocket.
I like it when Drew Petrie's up and about like this, Josh. He's, coming up to meet the footy, getting outside the 50, running back. He just looks like he's got real energy tonight for them.
Goldstein down to his toes. No one there to crumb. Big pack forms. It'll be thrown in the air 40 metres from the North Melbourne goal. Let's get Boomer Watch going. How many early touches for Brent Harvey? He's had 2 possessions, a kick and a hand pass, so 1 more than his first game already.
Neutral 40 from North's goal. From the ball up, it's tapped towards the boundary line and out of play, so it will be thrown in now on attacking 50 for the Kangas. Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, talking about Boomer Watch, I don't know whether he had blood on his jersey or whether they're going to auction off his jerseys, but he's just put on a new one as he's come to the bench here, so it'll be interesting to see how many they go through.
Ball thrown in on attacking 50 for North. Waite went through, had it for half a moment, lost it. Goes back to the foot of the pack. Hard footy to win. Waite goes in again. He's tackled strongly by Beasley, and the umpire says, play on, waiting for it to come out, and eventually he says, no, you're not sorting it out, and I'll ball it up.
Could be a nice money spinner for North Melbourne. Boomer jumpers. Boomer, you've pulled a thread. Get a new one on. Option that one.
Thrown in the air, 55 from North's goal. A lot of players around this contest, and it's off hands and out of play. So the boundary umpire will toss it in. North Melbourne 2-2-14. Brisbane 1 straight 6. We've played 15 minutes at the Gabba. That late score from the MCG. Close your ears, Tigers fan. Bad kicking from Richmond. 10-18-78 went down to the Dockers. 12-10-82.
Martin's wrapped his arms around Goldstein in the ruck contest at half forward, and it's Goldstein's free kick 60 metres from goal. Back he goes and thumps it nice and deep to the pocket. Brown's there in the pack. It got over the back though and went out of play off hands. It'll be thrown in next to the right behind post. An 8-point early lead to North Melbourne. 15 minutes in here at the Gabba. Lobbed back into play. Martin held onto by Goldstein. Redden roves, hacks a left foot kick out of trouble. Ferrito is met heavily there. It was Leuenberger who got him, and it's a free kick.
There's some accidental front-on contact. I think Leuenberger was unsighted.
It looked that way, didn't it? I mean, Leuenberger was actually got a good piece of the ball and attacking the footy and just cleaned up Ferrito in the process.
Ferrito back inside the 50. Ball spoiled away by Mays of the Lions. At ground level, it comes Del Santo's way. Hacks a kick forward, and it fortuitously ends up with Petrie. Hand pass to Cunnington in the goal square. North's got 3. It was a lucky kick from Del Santo, as skilled as he is. 16 minutes in, North 3-2-20. Brisbane 1 straight 6.
But sorry, Stars was about to say, it hasn't been the prettiest start to a game. It's been a lot of congestion, and the skill level hasn't been at any great standard, but it's just the weight of entries at the moment for North Melbourne. Every time Brisbane rebounded out of their back 50, it seems to come back in, and that's creating enough scoring opportunities. So a bit fortuitous, that quick kick from Del Santo, but North Melbourne have had the better of the running so far.
10-2 inside 50s. 10-2.
Yeah, it's been camped down one end, hasn't it? But nothing wrong with a quick forward under pressure too by Nick Del Santo.
Absolutely.
You know, just when you're in a congested area, slap it on the boot, get it forward, something might happen.
Centre bounce. Goldstein taps down to Swallow, who wins a tough ball, hands to Zeeble. Rush kick towards half forward for North Melbourne. Redden's going to clean up for Brisbane. His hand pass to Zorko, under pressure from Higgins. Got a hand pass backwards to Taylor. He's under pressure from Waite. Shrugged a tackle and handed it to Petrie, who snaps from 30 out and kicks another goal for North. His second. And Petrie's possession was the only time North had possession as Brisbane went backwards from the centre clearance. But a rush snap on the left boot from the veteran. His second, and North 4-2-26 lead Brisbane 1 straight 6.
You're right about that, Q. It's not often you score a goal without going inside 50.
Louis Taylor's
the opposition did it for you. Yeah.
Louis Taylor's had a pretty rough start to this game, Stars. You love to see one of the elder statesmen of that Brisbane side now just get across to him and just compose him. He's had a couple of ordinary moments in defensive 50, but we know he's a terrific young player and he gives great energy and effort. Hopefully this doesn't determine the rest of his game, because he starts being a bit shaky. But Brisbane need a couple of centre clearances.
Saying Bojack, is Tom Rockcliffe on the bench at the moment? He's only had a couple of possessions. I can't see him in the middle. Here comes Swallow out of the middle. He dropped it though, then he slipped over. He'll get up and go again. Give a hand pass to Turner. Hand pass to Waite. He gets a hand pass to Higgins. The sharpshooter eyes the goal, and he's not sharp this time. He's missed on the left-hand side, and at the 18-minute mark of the opening term, North's lead is 21 points. Sane.
Yeah, good question, Al. He's just stand up now. Actually, he's about to come back on the field.
You're just mildly concerned that he may have had an issue, but
from the kick in, long clearing kick marked by Mays at half back, and he kicks to Martin, who marks on halfway. So Brisbane have got it to the wing successfully. What do they do from here? Wobbly kick from Steph Martin, but it finds its target. Staker presents, marks a long way from home. He keeps it moving around the northern boundary, marked by Redden. Between wing and right half forward for Brisbane.
And the slower they move it, the more the blue and white jumpers can get back and clog it up.
And Redden just points, I'm going to kick long. Kicks to a pack inside 50. No mark. Goldstein plays rover. Hand passes it to Leuenberger. Wrong colours. Leuenberger hands to Christensen. Outside of the boot. Kick towards the goal mouth. Zorko tries to gather. He's under pressure. Does gather. Hands it to Staker. The North Cavalry arrives now. Strong tackle from Higgins to ensure the 200-gamer Adcock can't get a shot on goal. And that's forced a stalemate. It will be thrown in the air 30 from Brisbane's goal. The Lions are attacking the right of your radio dial. The western end in this first term.
Umpire Foot clears some space and throws the ball in the air. Tap towards the boundary beautifully by Martin. Here's a chance for Redden. Bananaing on the near side and missing. That was a good set play from Brisbane, but just lacked that final piece of execution there. Jack Redden at the 20-minute mark of the opening term. North's lead is 20 points.
And the Power have found a couple of answering goals and now go to the lead. Port 3-2, lead Essendon 3-1. Tarrant receives a very short kick in the left back pocket for North. His kick is semi-smothered. Great closing pressure from Leuenberger. Mitch Robinson takes the ball. Not a mark because of the pressure. And Leuenberger ran in support. Received the hand pass. Gave to Waish. He dropped it under pressure from Cunnington. Ball on the deck. North Melbourne have got it. Cunnington gets a hand pass to Del Santo. Weaves through some traffic. Kicks from the pocket to half back. Petrie the target. Couldn't mark. Over it is Merritt. Petrie battles on as well. Now Rich arrives for Brisbane. Was that over the shoulder? No. Umpire says, give it to me. As little Kane Turner was a bit stiff not to get a free kick there, but it's thrown in the air just forward of the wing for Brisbane.
I think the ump was blindsided, Q, as Harvey gets the rope and a hand pass to Dal Santo. He works it out towards the wing. Turner's got it for North. He's going to chip it over the top for Brown. Brown marks in front of Merritt, keeps his feet. Merritt falls over, but he doesn't play on. Boomer's sneaking round the back, as he's done more than 400 times in his career.
Yeah,
and there's
Rich.
a 50-metre penalty.
He only had eyes for Harvey and Daniel Rich and completely forgot about his environment, went straight through the mark. So 50-metre penalty there. It's disappointing because they just started to wrestle a bit of momentum back, Brisbane. And they're going to give the Kangaroos a shot on goal from about 20 out.
See, that's the value of Boomer still coming around the back of the guy with the footy. You're looking for the handball received, but he's actually caused the 50-metre penalty by getting an opponent to follow him through.
21-8 for the year for Brown. He's on the runway, he's charging in, and he's missing on the left-hand side. He gets some momentum going, but that was not his best kick. North back to a 21-point lead at the 21.5-minute mark.
And Rich will kick in. Glorious night for footy in Brisbane.
Looking at the replay of that one, that was diabolical, wasn't it, Daniel Rich? What was he thinking?
He goes long with the kick in to a 2-on-2 at left half back. Off hands, right ball for North. He's under pressure. Can't get rid of an effective hand pass over the boundary line. It goes. And a throw in to be effected. 60 from North's goal at right half forward for the Kangas. 4-4-28 plays 1-1-7. North Melbourne with the early lead here on milestone night on Grandstand AFL. Mitch Robinson roves the throw in and kicks Brisbane from left half back to the wing. A pack of players. Leuenberger battling for it. Couldn't pick it up. Pressured from Gibson of North Melbourne. Now Harvey's got the ball for the Kangas. He hand passes to Swallow. They're going backwards. His hand pass to Thompson, who's at right half back. He finds some space, the defender, and kicks well. Dropped by Zeeble. Went to take an uncontested chest mark on the half-forward flank, and it went straight through his breadbasket. He battles on, though. Hand passes to Dal Santo. His little hand pass is kicked inside 50 to Brown. Nice work from Atley to chip it to the leading forward. Brown wants to move it. He's marked hard on the boundary, about 50 from goal. But now he's going to go back as the forward line congests in front of him.
You'd love to play on their forward line tonight, Josh. Ben Brown and Drew Petrie, there's just opportunities. We're 14-3 inside 50s at the moment. And a lot of space to work in.
Heaps of space.
This will test Ben Brown on the right boot. The kick is across the face and punched through for a rushed score. North Melbourne 4-5-29, Brisbane 1-1-7, 23.5, first turn. Grandstand AFL at the Gabba.
Rich chips to himself again. Hand pass over the top to Zorko. He goes very short and dangerously. A gully catch attempt is not taken by Mays, and then he's tackled. Crowd want ball. Umpire says, that's my ball.
We'll speak about it a bit more at the break starts, but Brisbane need to take the Kangaroos on with some run. They're just prepared to chip it around and kick to a contest. North Melbourne are too good in that situation. They need to actually run and break the lines.
Martin the tap, but Harvey took it, got a hand pass away, and near the boundary line, Bastonak's escorted out of play. On the 50, Zane Bojack.
Yeah, very interesting. One of the best efforts I've seen so far by a sub. Lindsay Thomas, with all his experience, he's been giving a lot of advice to Jack Zeeble and also Andrew Swallow, two other experienced players in the Kangaroos lineup on the boundary line. It's be great to see other subs do that, but most of them are usually inexperienced.
Exactly. It's a weird move, isn't it? Brought into the team and he's the sub. McDonald kicks inside 50 for North, but an intercept mark is taken by... Sorry, Al. It was Dawson who took the mark, and Buick receives a pass.
I was just going to say, Lindsay Thomas's form in the reserves when he was demoted, he kicked 2 and 1 and didn't have a lot of the ball in the 2 weeks he went back, so even his inclusion is an interesting one.
So Paparone marked at right half back. He's kicked to the centre of the field for Taylor. Rush kick to half forward to no great effect, and a pack forms on the point of the centre square and a ball up.
They might have been looking for some other areas of improvement, Al, I think, with Lindsay. Yeah.
Defensive pressure, no doubt.
Jed Adcock, the man underneath that pack, picks himself up in game 200. Goldstein gets the tap down, but Aish will kick a quick ball inside 50 for Brisbane. Staker battling with Tarrant. Tarrant did well to tap it clear of the forward, roved by Gibson. His defensive hand pass goes to Wright, who kicks towards half back, but it's marked by Rich of Brisbane. Jared Waite will stand the mark. Oh no, hold on, it's been turned around. It's going to be Waite's free kick.
Holding on.
Okay. Didn't really see that in the contest. Waite kicks to the wing, marked by Del Santo.
Hand pass on the bounce to Turner. Turner centre wing, goes to Harvey. Harvey in a little bit of space. His hand pass over the top. It's taken by Garner. Garner's hand pass into Andrews. He intercepted, worked it towards Taylor, who's running backwards, then pirouetting away from Brown. His kick's no good. A wobbler. Cunnington traps it. Did really well under pressure. Worked it to Del Santo. Del Santo in a bind. May's got him holding the ball. And advantage paid to Brisbane. Redden a hand pass over the top to Leuenberger. He'll be harassed by McDonald. Got a hand pass to Rich. Rich thumps it long to half forward. Absolutely no one home. Wright's there. The bounce evades him for the moment, but he gathers. Paparo to Corral, but Wright measures a kick. Not a good one. Redden in front of Goldstein will mark and can send Brisbane back inside the 50.
Just looking at Daniel Rich, already he looks spent. Bending over, huffing and puffing. Redden kicks Brisbane back into attack. A big pack of players. Adcock among them. Couldn't mark. Roved by Staker. Hand passes to Mays. Tackled by Del Santo. Mays gets a hand pass away. It falls to the pocket and out of play. But just back to Daniel Rich, Josh. Again, he's leaning forward. He's either caught one in the stomach or is not feeling well.
Yeah, I agree, Q. He doesn't look on top of his game, and a couple of his decision-making efforts in this first quarter would suggest the same, so we'll just keep an eye on him.
Throw an attacking 50 for Brisbane. Cunnington roves for North. A little clearing kick marked by Harvey as soon as he grabbed it, put a hand pass onto the chest of runner in McDonald. He hand passes to Waite. Waite bit off too much. Got tackled. Got rid of it just in time. Harvey cleans up at half back. His hand pass finds a target and North run it through the half-back line. Garner receives from Atley. Gives to Harvey. He runs to the middle of the ground. Gives to Bastanak. Well tackled, though, by Rockcliffe. Ball turns over. Adcock has it and he loses it and is holding the ball. Free kick North. Play onto advantage by Bastanak. Kicks inside 50. Marked by Turner. Ben Jacobs made the tackle on Adcock. And Bastanak played on and finds a target. And a chance for Turner to amend his earlier errant kick with a shot from 40, slight angle to the left.
It's just the style of footy Brisbane should be playing the other way, Josh. North taking the game on there by hand, and eventually, with a few stutters on the way through, got it forward.
The 19-year-old looking for his 4th goal of the year. He's more happy with that effort, Kane Turner. Pumps his fist, kicks truly. North has 5, and the Kangas lead by 28 points at the 28-minute mark of the first term. North Melbourne 5-5-35 leads Brisbane's 1-1-7. Meanwhile, at Docklands, Essendon leads Port Adelaide by 16 points. The Bombers 6-1-37 to Port's 3-3. And in fact, Port's just got another, make it 4-1-27. So a 10-point lead to the Dons.
Well, you're right, Stars. I think the way North Melbourne have gone about it is exactly what you want to see from Brisbane. Now, they probably overused the handball a little bit. Harvey had a chance to release the ball inside 50 to Brown, who was running hard back towards the goal square. But Brisbane are playing safe for mine. They're prepared to chip it around even a little bit earlier. Redden had the ball 70 out. Martin was by himself deep in the goal square, but Redden was just reluctant to roll and hit him. So they've just got to come out of their shells a bit.
North's had 46 more disposals in this opening term. Sliding in Christensen. Got a hand pass to Aish. He kicks through the traffic towards half forward. Buick and Wright go to meet it. Wright falls over. Redden tries to gather for Brisbane, but Wright does enough to pull it back into the pack. Now he's got it and he needs to get it out. Umpire foot lurking and he calls for a ball up.
Both sides are also playing a spare behind the ball, but I think the Kangaroos are utilising theirs better to actually chain out and get it inside 50, and it's making Brisbane's spare player largely irrelevant.
Leuenberger this time, third man up over the top of Martin and Goldstein. Aish has it, hacks a kick towards half forward, over the 50, bounces past Adcock, socked by Staker, taken by Tarrant. They've worked it well here. Gibson gives a hand pass to Thompson, and out through defensive 50 goes North with a high kick. Almost a mark to Waite, not paid. He did bring it down. Ump said that someone else got a hand, and then he says, no, I'll give you a free kick for over the shoulder. And Jared Waite has it at right half back for North Melbourne.
So the ex-blue about to send the Kangas down the southern wing with a long right foot drop punt. Brown prominent in the pack, couldn't take the mark. Off hands and out of play. Near Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, Daniel Rich has been in a long discussion with the Lions doctor. I don't know what it's about. It doesn't look like he's too impeded, but I'll keep you updated on what's going on there.
Yeah, he hasn't looked 100%, Zane, that's for sure. Throw in on the wing. Goldstein the tap down. Comes out North's way. McDonald hands to Goldstein. He to Waite. Waite rushes a kick wide to the half-forward flank to no one in particular, and it rolls out of play.
He's either crook or caught one in the stomach, didn't he? But it
more
doesn't
info,
look well.
Zane?
Sorry, yeah, Rich is just going down the race.
Okay.
Be thrown back in at right half forward for North Melbourne with Martin and Goldstein. Knocked to the front, over the back from Goldstein. Went through Swallow. Cunnington picked up. He's tackled. Ball spills out. Goldstein had it. Worked it towards Jacobs. Out the back to Gibson. All under pressure. Buick intercepts a hand pass. He's tackled by Gibson. That's locked in. Centre wing on the Stanley Street side. We've ticked over 30 minutes played in the opening term. The game is on North Melbourne's terms. 28 points the Kangaroos lead. Up it goes, Goldstein. Silver service. Down it goes. Swallow. Now a long kick inside the 50. No mark taken by Brown, and Paparone comes round the back for Brisbane. Neat kick to Christensen. Marks a defensive 50. Overlap run provided by Robertson. He'll mark centre wing on the Vulture Street side.
The skunk hairdo kicks backwards. Marked by Paparone on defensive 50. Right half back. He'll switch to left half back. Fine kick. Marked by the Boom Queensland youngster Harris Andrews. Kicks to the wing, marked by Jack Redden, and that's the end of the quarter. A quarter dominated by North Melbourne, 17 inside 50s to 7 for the term, and the Kangas lead by 28 points at the first change. North Melbourne 5-5-35, Brisbane 1-1-7. Drew Petrie kicked 2 goals in the quarter for North with singles to Cunnington, Turner and Brown, while Brisbane's only goal was kicked by Steph Martin at the 12.5-minute mark. So it's the Kangas by 28 points here. Quarter time at Docklands. It's Essendon by 10 points over Port Adelaide. The Bombers 6-1-37 leads Ports 4-3-27. Hooker with 2 goals for the Bombers, the only multiple goal kicker in the game. Goddard, Heppel, Laverda and Merritt also have goals for the Bombers, while for Port, all singles to Boak, Wingard, Ebert and Schultz. Essendon 6-1-37 lead Ports 4-3-27. Earlier today, Geelong by 27 over the Giants in Canberra. Adelaide by 39 over the Suns at the Adelaide Oval. And the twilight game was a tense finish at the MCG. Wasteful kicking from the Tigers and a telling strike from Dave Mundy in the last minute of the game gave Fremantle a 4-point victory. The Dockers 12 goals 10-82 to Richmond's 10-18-78. A reminder, this special night for Brent Harvey, one of our favourites on Grandstand AFL, and you can win a unique piece of Boomer memorabilia. You've got one more quarter to enter our competition via the ABC Grandstand Facebook page or through the ABC Grandstand Twitter account using the hashtag ABCBoomer400. That's ABC Boomer 400. The question, outside of the 1999 Grand Final win over the Blues, which day has been Boomer's favourite day in his career? So get on the Facebook page and add a comment there, or use that hashtag ABC Boomer 400 with your answer, and all the correct answers will be put into a draw, and we'll pick one out. And if you get it right, and you're the man or woman who's been picked out of the lucky draw, you can win a North Melbourne matchday football signed by the 400 gamer Brent Harvey. You've got till half time to enter that competition. Let's take a break here. Quarter time on Grandstand AFL with North Melbourne leading Brisbane by 28 points.
Volunteering with your local emergency services is a great way to connect with your community and learn new skills and build a disaster-resilient Australia. Connected communities are better able to look after each other during emergencies when immediate help may not be available, and they recover better. For information about volunteer opportunities in your community, visit the ABC Emergency website, abc.net.au/emergency.
Grandstand AFL.
He's not sure what to do with it. He's looking backwards. His kick is very poor. Wanted Rich, didn't get there. Taken by Petrie. Petrie kicks the first from 30 out. So Leuenberger versus Brown, a shallow throw in. Brown taps it and robes it and goals it!
Thrown in with Brisbane in attack. At the back of the pack, clean possession, Steph Martin. Rush kick on goal from 30. Straight enough. Is it long enough? Yes.
Ball spoiled away by Mays of the Lions. At ground level, it comes Dal Santo's way. Hacks a kick forward and it fortuitously ends up with Petrie. Hand pass to Cunnington in the goal square. North's got 3.
Hand pass to Zorko under pressure. from Higgins. Got a hand pass backwards to Taylor. He's under pressure from Waite. Strikes a tackle and handed it to Petrie, who snaps from 30 out and kicks another goal for North. His second.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio and on ABC Grandstand Digital.
Quentin Hull and the team with you at the Gabba in Brisbane for Milestone Night. It's North by 28 points at quarter time here. Meanwhile, the Bombers lead Port by 10 points at quarter time at Docklands. The winners earlier today, Geelong, Adelaide and Fremantle. In the National Rugby League today, 2 games are completed. The third is currently in progress. Earlier on, across the ditch in New Zealand, Manly defeated the New Zealand Warriors by 32 points to 12. The recently completed game in Melbourne, the Storm had a victory over the St George Illawarra Dragons. Melbourne Storm 22, defeating St George Illawarra 4. And about a quarter of an hour in at the Olympic Stadium in Sydney, the South Sydney Rabbitohs 10 lead the Newcastle Knights 6. Here, North 5-5-35, Brisbane 1-1-7. Josh Fraser and Craig Starcevich to break it down for you.
Domination by North Melbourne there, that quarter, Josh. 17-7 inside 50s, 50 more touches of the footy, 42 of them hand passes, if you don't mind. So that tells you a little bit about the way they're playing the game, North, by a little bit more run and carry on the rebound, which in contrast to Brisbane, that's probably Brisbane's game. We haven't seen any of that tonight, any run off half-back at all. But all kudos to North at the moment. Del Sando's got a lot of it. Harvey's had a lot of it. Cunnington's had a lot of it. And their forwards are all firing. Petrie's kicked a couple. Brown's looked busy and kicked one. And Jared Waite's had 8 touches also. So a lot of things going right for the Kangas.
Yeah, they've been all over them, Stars. I completely agree. Contested possessions, 43-28, so they've dominated them in that area. But also on the outside, their ability to actually run. North Melbourne are winning the uncontested footy as well. So it's a real challenge now for the Lions, to be able to get their hands on it in a contested situation and around the stoppages, but then be able to run and actually make North Melbourne try and defend. Too many times they've been held up at half-back and they've had 4 or 5 players queue up for the short 45 inside. No one's actually been prepared to run hard, fall to the footy and create some opportunities themselves. So big test for them, for a young group. Can they respond? At the moment, looks like North Melbourne will kick away.
Well, North Melbourne, its prize tonight is a spot in the 8 with victory. The club's made a good start. 28 points the lead as we prepare to start the second term on Grandstand AFL. Leuenberger's in ruck against Goldstein. Umpire lays it into the turf. It favours Goldstein. He palms it down to Robinson. Fast hands to Rockcliffe. Rarely sighted in the first term. Kicks inside the 50. Martin was edged out by Tarrant. Umpire says push. Free kick to Brisbane. On the 50.
In the first term, Dal Santo, Gibson and Harvey all with 9 touches for North. Redden led the way for Brisbane with 9. Christensen and Taylor next best with 5 each for Brisbane.
Martin's going back for a shot. He's going back a mile as well. Brett Lee's run-up wasn't this long at the Gabba. He's gone way back inside the centre square. Long strides as he walks through the front edge of the square, gets into a gallop, pumps it long from 50. It's across the face. Buick flies on the line, but he can't bring it down. It's through for a minor score, and North's lead is 27 points, a minute into the second term. Zane Bojak's on the boundary for Grandstand AFL.
Oh, more Boomer trivia for you. James Brayshaw has thought of everything. They've got 5 pairs of boots on the sideline. Boomer's already exchanged the first set at quarter time.
Mouthguard, Zane? Anything else?
Coming to an internet bidding site near you soon. Kick-in's a short one. Marked by Thompson in the pocket. Dangerously, he kicks back to the goal mouth for Tarrant, who has to play tackler. The ball bounced to Buick, and that is a good tackle from Tarrant.
No, it's not.
Oh, you're kidding. That's holding the ball?
You've got to be kidding me.
That it should have been holding the ball, I mean.
That's as bad as the one last night on
What's he paid that for?
In the back.
Gee.
In the back?
He's paid in the back.
That was closer to holding the ball, wasn't it?
Let's have a look at the replay.
How is that in the back?
That one there. Apparently that's in the back.
Wow.
He slung him to ground. It was closer to a sling tackle than a push in the back.
Yeah.
That is an absolute mare, and Buick kicks a goal because of it.
Crikey.
That is close to the worst umpiring decision of the year.
Well, it might have been unjustified at the MCG, but perhaps a squirt in the face is justified here for that umpire just to wake up, because that is a howler.
I thought I saw the worst one.
How can you sling someone and get push in the back?
Cade Simpson got done last night for a tackle on Showermakers, and everybody thought holding the ball, terrific tackle. Because he rolled at the end and finished on his back, I know it's technical and I don't agree with it. I think that's what they're paying.
They are fiddling with it, aren't they?
Yeah,
but that's not football.
No, I agree. That's a soft free kick.
So what's the score? 5-5 to 1-2. Cheap one for Brisbane. They needed it.
Back in the middle with Leuenberger and Goldstein, and Quentin Hull just pondering what just happened and might be able to work it out by half-time. Out the back it goes for Rockcliffe. He's tackled. Can't get it free. And the umpire is coming around the pack and asking for it again.
We've all got those mates that don't follow the Indigenous game that closely, and you try and explain it to them. This just makes it harder, people, running the game.
From the tap, Leuenberger bundles around. There's a free kick for a push in the back here, and that is going to go North Melbourne's way to Zeeble. Zeeble inside the centre square near the bullseye. Goes towards Petrie, who stands tall. A man overcommitted in front, attempting to spoil Justin Clark, and Petrie just stood there and marked it on a bit of a juggle, 40 metres out, slight angle.
It's nice when you don't have to present to the kicker.
Yeah.
He finds you. Because Drew Petrie just stood there, as Al commented, and just had to put his hands up. It was a great kick.
Petrie for 3. He kicks towards the western end. He's got 3. And his form's starting to come. He hadn't kicked 3 in a game this season until a couple of weeks ago, and now he's done it 3 weeks in a row. And North Melbourne's lead, pretty comfortable. 27 points at the 3-minute mark of the second term. 6-5-41 to 2-2-14. More news from the boundary, perhaps from the auctioneer, Zane Bojack.
Yeah, I can let you know, General Rich has actually come on after quarter time. He was only on for a few minutes and he's come back off again, but I don't think it's too serious, whatever it was that it was ailing him before quarter time.
It was serious enough for him to be sluggish behind the contest.
Spoke about that mark there, Stars, inside 50. Justin Clark's the loose player for Brisbane. Your responsibility as a loose player is to actually impact in the air. He completely misread that, and an uncontested mark to a key forward, 30 out.
Great kick by Zeeble.
Fantastic kick.
Josh Fraser and Craig Starcevich with you on Grandstand AFL, and a wobbly bounce in the middle went straight to Matt Leuenberger, so it will be tossed in the air. Mind you, that's probably the only way. That's like the handicap at stall for Todd Goldstein in the ruck. Bounce it towards the opposition ruckman. Leuenberger's going to win the clearance for Brisbane from the ball up in the middle. He kicks inside 50 to a pack. Fisted to ground level, North first there. Hand passes from McDonald. Goes to Ferrito. Ferrito kicks North out of defence to the wing. Brown's got 2 to beat, almost marks, but it comes to a Brisbane hand. Roved by Dawson, who kicks across the centre of the ground. Mark taken for Brisbane there by Beasley, and it's gone over a fallen lion.
Yeah, Mitch Robinson's got a real problem in the middle.
Beasley kicks back to the southern wing. Mark taken by Mays. He's got a runner in Clark. Gives the hand pass to the backman. He kicks towards forward 50. Del Santo got in Buick's back. No free kick. Ferrito tries to hand pass underneath Buick's legs. He hand passes it into his boots, and it goes out of play. And the boundary umpire will toss it in. 40 from Brisbane's goal.
Get to Zane in a moment. Mitch Robinson's hobbling off the field in the arms of 2 trainers. To the back, it's knocked to Del Santo. And from left half back, he gets a high up and under kick. Beasley's camped in front, hands to it, no mark, but got it to Clark somehow. Heated Dawson by hand. A hand pass on the bounce to Robertson. Kicks towards the 50. Buick back with a flight, can't mark. It's punched towards the boundary line. Christensen was trying to shark it, but couldn't keep it in. It'll be thrown in 30 from goal. Zane Bojack.
Yeah, Mitch Robertson already had strapping on that left knee, and I reckon that's the problem that he's got, Al. He couldn't put any weight on it as he came off the field.
Throw in with Brisbane in attack. Martin taps down well to Christensen. Boundary side, under pressure, snaps on goal. Buick and Wright engage. Wright does enough to spoil the leaping lines forward, and off hands out of play. Ball to be tossed in the right forward pocket for the Lions, who trail North by 27 points. 6-5 plays 2-2 in perfect conditions at the Gabba in Brisbane. Ball thrown in. Bastanak tries to rove for North. Got hands on it. Was swamped as soon as he got it. Gets a hand pass out of congestion. But back over the boundary line it goes.
This boundary ump's getting a bit of work over there, right in front of a large congregation of North Melbourne fans at that eastern end. Martin over the back. Zeeble had it, lost it. Goldstein couldn't get a meaningful kick. Does spill the way, though, of McDonald, and McDonald clears defensive 50. Out towards the wing. Merritt there for Brisbane, but it goes out of play in front of the interchange.
That's a terrific kick. Sorry, Q, a great kick, because Merritt was the spare player set up behind the footy. For that to be able to find touch without giving away a free kick, great effort.
Fine touch. You're becoming a Queenslander, Josh. 7-3-45 plays 4-4-28. It's the Bombers leading 6 minutes in at Docklands in the second term.
Knocked down and taken by Bastanak of North. He kicks to half forward. Brown got a nudge from Merritt. Slapped by Higgins towards Waite. Goes through his legs, though. Harris Andrews in a battle with him for the ball. Then he turns tackler on Waite. And it's locked in 55 metres from goal. Left half forward for North Melbourne. The Kangaroos are 6-5. The Lions are 2-2. Played 7.5 minutes of the second term on Grandstand AFL with Alistair Nicholson, Quentin Hull, Craig Starcevich, Josh Fraser and Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Leuenberger taps down but straight to Harvey, and the 400 gamer hand passes to Swallow. Rush kick inside 50 is marked by Merritt in the pocket. Did well to muscle Brown away from the drop. And good hands from Dan Merritt, who chips to the centre of the ground, marked by Redden, or the centre portion of the ground. He gives a pass, hand pass to Zorko. Zorko kicks to Rich, who marks him half back. So he looks like he's certainly managing that ailment of the first quarter, Daniel Rich. Very short kick to Brent Staker. Here he is in his 6th year at Brisbane, finally playing his 50th game in Lions colours, having had 2 years where he didn't even turn out because of injuries. He chips short to Adcock. He goes on to Clark. Clark's kick from right half back to a pack on the outer wing, and a great piece of defensive work by Jack Ziebel. Punches the ball out of play. And that stops that Brisbane movement down the southern wing and forces a 50-50 with a boundary throw.
Leuenberger and Goldstein tangle. No third man up this time. Another win for Goldstein, but Leuenberger grabs it. His kick semi-smothered. Robertson hassled off it by Swallow. Swallow so now over the ball. It does come out the back somehow, but only for a split second. Cunnington driven into the turf. And another ball up. Centre wing on the Stanley Street side of the Gabba in front of Zane Bojack.
Yeah, good news. Mitch Robertson looks okay. Robbie Tarrant's actually getting some tape applied to his left hand. Looks like he's got a few problems with his fingers.
Thanks, Zane. Out of the traffic goes Zorko. Good hand pass to Taylor. He gives one to Aish. Back over the top. Lewis Taylor's near half forward. He's going to be harassed. He gives it back to Aish by hand. 55 metres out. Who is that to? Absolutely no one in a Brisbane jumper. Thompson drops a regulation mark for North. His hand pass underground works its way to right on the bounce to Dal Santo in the pocket. Over the top, they've worked it well. McDonald, he'll be mown down, just got it away as he was tackled by Christensen. And they work it well, North. Turner to Gibson. Gibson short, taken on the half volley there by Wade. He was trying to con the umpire, having none of it the ump, and Brisbane come up with it. Clark a hand pass to Mays. Mays, very good vision, kicks to the wing for Staker.
He's got a man infield, hand passes to Harris Andrews. He further to the corridor for Zorko. Zorko's kick inside 50 is a beauty. And a hard-running diving marks taken by the little rising star. Or is it James Aish? No, it's Aish who's got there in the end. Well, as he tumbled to ground, I thought it was little Louis' legs that were pumping, but James Aish is the man that got to the drop, and he'll have a shot from 40 metres out.
You'd hope the penny drops now with the Lions. The way they ran the ball off half-back there with Big Harris, who isn't a renowned runner, rebounder, but giving it to Zorko through the middle and moving it quick. It's the way things have been working for him, Josh. I can't work out why they... I mean, the opposition slow you down, but why wouldn't you just take it on at every cost?
Not much of an angle, 40 out for Aish on the right boot. He kicks to Major. Just his second of the year and Brisbane's third of the night. North Melbourne's lead is 21 points. 6-5 plays, 3-2, and we've tracked 11 minutes in this second term. Meanwhile at Docklands, it's Essendon by 10 points, 7-3, 45 to 5-5, 35 over the Power.
Well, they were a little bit lucky in some ways, Stas. I mean, North Melbourne had the extra numbers forward of the ball. Poor decision by foot or execution by foot, lands in front of weight. But fortune favours the brave. They're able to resurrect the ball and counter-attack the other way with some numbers. And that's, as you say, that's exactly what they've been doing when they've been playing well. They've been taking the game on. Aish, nice hard run forward of the footy. They've just got to keep backing themselves to run and get the ball inside 50 by using some angles and some speed.
Brown into the ruck, palms it down, taken by Rockcliffe. And the man who's been checking him closely all night, Jacobs, is there to apply a tackle and deny him a possession. Only 14 possessions last week for Rockcliffe against Melbourne. Did lay 17 tackles, though. There's a quick kick out of the pack by Robinson back on the ground. A ball that bundles to the 50, taken by Petrie. His kick travels a metre, taken by Higgins. Hand pass inside the 50. Strong bump by Merritt. Kick from Rockcliffe, semi-smothered. Garner's tackle dispossessed for North Melbourne. Robinson crashing in, farming out a hand pass to Merritt. He's tackled by Harvey, takes him to ground. Rolled the big man over, umpire lurking. No free kick. The ball stays in. I thought for a moment Harvey might have been holding the ball his way. It's 35 metres from goal.
Having said that, that was more in the back than the one down here with Rowan Buick. So
yeah, but he's 20 kilos lighter.
Yes.
Now there's a whistle off the ball
Gareth
up.
Staker, is it?
It's 50 metres away. No wonder I couldn't see it. It's up on the wing. That ball up was in attacking 50 for North, and Staker's going to get a free kick up on the wing. Did you see what it was for?
I didn't see, no, but get off the ball. Shenanigans, Stars.
So Brent Staker. He's going to chip short, and an uncontested mark taken by Redden. He chips around the boundary line looking for Martin. Ben Brown arrives and slaps it away. Oh, and then Steph Martin almost reefs his elbow back into Ben Brown's head. Brown goes down. Wasn't real contact there, but it was an ugly tangling of two big men, and the ball's out of play. And the boundary umpire called into effect on the outer wing.
Needs to keep those elbows down after the Adelaide game and a couple of weeks out. Martin takes it out of the ruck. Did he edge out his opponent illegally? No, he got a kick. Picked up by Rich. He did well in the traffic to Christensen. Hand pass on the bounce to Adcock. Kick inside the 50. Back with a flight. Staker. Got a little bump from Thompson. Lewis Taylor's lurking. Can he pick up for Brisbane? No, he can't. Zorko's there as well. The mosquitoes are everywhere. But Thompson's applying the error guard. And the ball's not coming out. It'll be thrown in the air 35 metres from the Brisbane goal.
They found a little edge of the Lions. I think their last 2 or 3 minutes have just started to pick up their intensity around the ball. And they've got a little sniff up. They can get the next one. Bit of belief might start to creep in.
Martin the tap down at his feet. Buick kicked into the shins of Wright. It comes out the back again to Buick. Hacks a kick at goal. That is utterly something from nothing. And Brisbane are coming at North. The margin's 15 points at the 13-minute mark of the second term. Buick's got a couple, and Brisbane in this term has kicked 3 goals to 1. It's 6-5-41 to 4-2-26. Nearly 14 played second term grandstand AFL.
Well called, mate. They were coming, and something out of nothing there in that stoppage. Ryan Buick's been nice and busy up forward.
There's been a shift in their intensity, I think, Stars, particularly around the ball. Mitch Robinson has been involved, but they're starting to get a lot more active around the stoppages, clearing the ball with quick kicks and getting it inside 50 and putting some pressure on North Melbourne.
I did see Mitch Robinson give Jed Adcock an enormous bake when they went inside 50 there for not flicking the handball out, but it ended well.
Fine centre bounce. Goldstein taps down. Cunnington couldn't get a handle on it though. Still a 50-50 ball in the middle. Swallow goes to ground. No free kick. Waite gathers for North. Hands it to Harvey, defensive side of the pack. And Boomer decides to have a run. Almost got run down by Rockcliffe, but gets his hand away in time to Atley, who hand passes to Del Santo, and he hand passes 20 metres backwards to Tarrant, who's just forward of half back. Tarrant now kicks it wide to the wing and finds a target. Mark is taken there by Gibson for the Kangas. He kips towards half forward. Finds a target in McDonald. He's 55 from goal. McDonald will kick towards full forward. Petrie, Cunnington the target. Buick got in front to spoil. Zeeble battles on at ground level. Whistle on play. Brisbane free kick against Zeeble, going to Louis Taylor.
Taylor to Zorko. Good kick to Buick. The confidence is building for Brisbane. The targets are being hit. They're coming back towards the corridor. Taylor takes the mark, still on defensive 50. He wants to feed a hand pass. It goes to Dawson, one over the top to Christensen. He was slick by hand. Gives to Zorko. Zorko at centre half back to Martin. Martin to the run of Beasley through the middle. They've got it to the corridor, albeit fraught. The chip pass to Adcock. He's 65 from goal. He gets up. What's ahead of him? Staker's on the lead. Leuenberger's on the lead. Both those two ignored, and a sideways kick that will stifle the momentum. Mark taken by Paparone. He chips over the top. Harris Andrews has got it 60 from goal.
Stas has fallen out of his chair.
I'm flat after that. It was looking so good. It was looking so good, and then he slowed down.
Andrews inside the 50, and Tarrant stands in the pack and takes the defensive mark for North.
They had him under the pump, Al. Keep going quick. Go in there quickly and you can score. You're a chance. Put the opposition defence under pressure.
And it was a bloke playing his 200th game who made that decision.
Tarrant's kick to left half back is punched over the boundary line by Andrews. Throw in, right half forward for Brisbane. Zane Bonjack on the boundary.
Yeah, everyone talks about Andrew Swallow's movie star look, so it might have to be an action movie because he had blood pouring out of his right eye, but they fixed it up now with about 10 tonne of bandages.
And that's because Mitch Robinson absolutely nailed him earlier. Went at him to lay a big bump and they clashed heads. Robinson's also getting treatment on the bench at the moment.
And I'll come off the line type of contact.
Not quite the movie star looks accompanying Mitch Robinson that accompanied Swallow.
He'd be a terrific villain. Mitch Robinson. No offence. There's a free kick.
Yeah, you got to wheel and get this ball inside 50 quickly.
Hand pass from off his hands and knees. Zorko receives from Buick, kicks long on goal, leaves it near side and kicks it behind. There's a couple of stoppages in a row there on attacking 50 for Brisbane, and a free kick sorted it out behind to the Zork. 14 points is the lead to North.
There's a few out there that know the tempo required.
Yes.
Zorko gets it in his hands, and a couple of others, they know. Play quick footy and with some chance.
Thompson out to the left back flank. Goldstein tried to edge out Leuenberger, who slapped it away to Redden. Redden 70 out. Left foot kick inside the 50. Carries over the pack. Coming the other way for North, the reliable Thompson. He gives a hand pass and they'll get out of strife here. Jacobs has worked it to the wing for Turner. Turner a hand pass over the top to Brown. He juggles, he can't control, and Taylor's nipping at his heels. He paddles, but it's taken by Jacobs of North. His kick smothered by Rockcliffe. Comes to Buick. Buick to Ace. Ace, it opens up for him. The sea's parted and he kicks to half forward. Staker can't mark. The spoil from Ferrito, but they both go to ground. Chance for Mays. He's on the wing. Sweeps a 30-metre hand pass back towards Merritt. Merritt's kick. Dangerous. Harvey intercepts. Leaps up on Taylor and takes the mark for North Melbourne. Oh, a critical error. He delays the hand pass on the bounce to Atley. Atley with room to move and assess. He kicks it straight into Merritt, who then dumps him. Harvey being held. Soccers North forward. Bounces off Brown. Redden picks up for the Lions. He gives to Taylor. Taylor in a bind. His hand pass atrocious to Adcock. Slapped down by Turner. Brown's there to apply a strong tackle on a man much smaller beneath. And the umpire comes in and says, "Mine, that's enough of that frenetic activity." Lewis Taylor has been squashed and he's slowly picking himself up. And we'll have a ball up at right half forward for North.
Leuenberger taps down. Half a chance for Higgins. Got a hand pass under pressure to Cunnington, who kicks it off the ground towards full forward. It pinballs around, picked up by Mays of Brisbane. Hands to Beasley, whistle. Throw from Beasley. Free kick North Melbourne. And Garner's going to be the recipient, 30 metres out.
Umpire Andrew Stevens had a real good look at that, didn't he? It was right in the line of view.
So Taylor Garner in just his 5th game of league footy. He's had his problems mainly with a major hamstring issue in his early days at the club, but now gets a chance to kick a goal at the Gabba. And North need a goal. Brisbane have kicked the last 2. North lead the game by 14 points. Garner 45 degrees to the right of centre. 40 metres out in the right foot. That's always on the near side, and a minor score behind. North 6-6-42, Brisbane 4-3-27. 20 minutes played second term. Meanwhile, Port's hit the front at Docklands, 8-5-53 to Essendon's 8-3-51.
Clark kicks in towards the half-back flank. Leuenberger's on the lead. Lovely kick. Leuenberger juggles and can't bring down the mark, and he really should have. He had separation on his opponent. That was regulation stuff. It goes out of play. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Yeah, Leicester Plus has had a magnificent win here at the Gabba, but both Mitch Robinson and Andrew Swallow are back on the field.
Yeah, Robinson's just drifted into my field of view through the binoculars, and so has Swallow, who gets a hand pass out the back to Bastanak. Bastanak back inside the 50 he goes. Big punch taken by Aish. Aish is tackled by 2 Kangas and driven into the turf. Be thrown in the air 40 metres from goal. It was Turner and Zeeble. You don't get out of their clutches. North in attack. Needing a goal. They're in front, but Brisbane has a bit of momentum. Taylor's got it. Tackled by Turner. Got his hand pass to Mays in tight to Leuenberger. Back to Mays to Zorko. Zorko nailed by Atley. Spun 360. Pinged. Free kick to North at left half forward.
It's always tough to get out of there, wasn't it? I mean, Zorko took him on, but Swallow was up for it.
Give the Border Region another mention. Josh, the Wodonga boy, Atley kicks inside 50. Leading target there was Zeeble, punched away from him and kicked clear by Redden for Brisbane to half back. Gathered by Aish. His kick not gathered cleanly on the half volley first time but by Martin, but he follows up to win the ball. Hands to Rockcliffe, who's smashed into by Jacobs. Loses the ball and Jacobs grabs the ball inside 50. Harris Andrews gets to it first for Brisbane. He gathers and is then tackled, and it's a stalemate 35 from North's goal.
Who does the spare at either end suit best here in this one? I'm not too sure at the moment.
Ball thrown in the air. Redden robes and kicks Brisbane out of immediate danger. A high kick to the wing. Free kick against Tarrant for pushing Staker. And Brent Staker will receive the footy just shy of the southern wing for Brisbane. North by 15 points.
The first quarter was certainly North Melbourne starts. Their extra player was getting involved in the ball movement, but Brisbane seemed to have been able to wrestle that ascendancy back.
Oh, there's trouble. Kick missed the target from Staker, and then Turner has been smashed by Mays front on. Free kick. North play onto advantage. Kick inside the 50. Over the back of the pack it goes. It's almost through for a minor score, and in the end it just deviates away and over the boundary line. The kick coming in, I think, from Sean Attlee, but I was looking back at the aftermath of that heavy hit from Mays in the middle on Turner. Tossed back in, 25 metres from goal. Leuenberger palms it down. Rockcliffe gets a clearing kick for Brisbane. Tumbler towards Rich. Rich one-on-one with Gibson. Rich has to spoil and punch it out of play.
It's making it hard at both ends, isn't it? You know, if you go long and deep, there's always an out number. I'm not sure Brisbane have handled it that well. They've been much better when they've sort of lowered their eyes and gone to the shorter kick, top of the 50.
Lovely tap down from Goldstein at the throw-in, but Higgins just couldn't take it. Still North's ball. Out the back door it comes to the bandaged Swallow. Kicks inside 50 to a big pack of players. Back of the pack, Brown plays Rover. Grubbers a ball on goal and just misses to the right-hand side. Tumbled it from 25 metres out, and it just had a little bend about it on the last part of its trajectory. A point, 6-7 to 4-3, North by 16.
Paparone chips to himself, goes to the Stanley Street back flank. Attlee spoils Buick, but Buick gathers on the bounce. Hand pass over the top to Dawson. Attlee nails him and slams him into the turf near the advertising hoardings. It'll be thrown in at left half forward for North Melbourne. 23 played second term. Kangas by 16. But Brisbane is certainly acclimatised to this contest after North got away early. Leuenberger reaching over the top. Del Santo, the rove, tackled by Asian, lost it. Hands and knees, hand pass from Zorko. Picked up by Leuenberger. That's a big stretch. He got it by hand to Christensen at right half back. Defensive hand pass to Dawson. Dawson measures his pass, dropped by Ace. Should have been taken on the wing. Harvey tackles him. Ball tunnel balled out towards Zorko, who couldn't get a possession. Bastanak had it for a moment. Christensen crashes in. North have won it. Swallows going to kick them inside the 50. One-on-one Brown and Merritt, and Merritt's fist almost punctures the ball as it goes out of play.
The clean hands there were from Goldstein, who got low and fed that out. Geez, in rare form. See a big man go low and so swiftly gather off the deck and farm it out to Swallow. Beautifully done. Del Santo at the back of the throw-in for North. Rushes a kick towards goal. Merritt's first there. Couldn't complete the mark under pressure from Brown. And it ricochets off Dan Merritt's chest and out of play next to the behind post.
Waiting for Jared Waite to have an impact on this game. He's a he can do the mercurial thing, but he just hasn't.
For a while.
Yeah, well, he just hasn't done the basic stuff well enough tonight. But he's a player that can impact quickly. I'd like to see him start to hit the scoreboard and get a little bit active on his opponent.
Nice composure from Redden to win the ball in the pocket. Find some time to kick to the half-back flank near the boundary line, off hands and out of play.
He started okay. He had 8 touches in the first. He's only had 1 this quarter.
And kicked 7 against Brisbane in that 82-point mauling in round 2.
Early in the year, yep.
Tossed back in. Again at left half forward for North. Plenty of play on that Stanley Street side. All picked up near the boundary line. Swallow was slung. Garner goes through. Can't get a possession. Clatters into bodies. It's back out of play. And yet again, right in front of those, just to our right of the North Melbourne interchange. Over on that Stanley Street side. 16-point lead to the Kangaroos. Goldstein reaching over the top. Bastanak couldn't pick up. Rockcliffe did. Hand pass to Zorko. Slapped it onto Taylor. Taylor's nailed by Ferrito. Tries to shrug him off. You just can't. And the ball's on the deck now. Robertson for Brisbane picks up. He works it out the back. Mays' kick semi-smothered. Bastanak knocked off it. Socket off the ground by Robinson. Not a bad option towards half forward, but Wright picks up for North. Hand pass to Gibson. Gibson back point of the square. Hand pass to Thompson. And Thompson finds a target. Marked by McDonald. He goes to Harvey. Harvey hand pass over the top to Ferrito near the boundary line. Poor hand pass. Punched out of play by Buick in front of Wright. It'll be thrown in centre wing on the far side.
It's a perfect example when they've gone forward there. Scott Thompson just sits out the back, directs traffic, gets involved, flicks it around and they're out again. At the moment, Brisbane don't have their spare in their back 50. They've actually got it up near the stoppage. So it's interesting to see how it all pans out.
Mitch Robinson wins the crumb for Brisbane. Hand pass to Wage. He's kicked to half forward. Doesn't find a target. But arriving Adcock intercepts and got one high. The 200 gamer gets a decision. Jed Adcock nailed in a high tackle. And the crowd want 50 against Scott Thompson because he's laying over the top of Jed Adcock. He has got a pretty handy boot on him, though, for a medium-sized player, Stars. Man on the mark here is 49 out.
Yeah, shouldn't trouble him. But angle's tough, but certainly go the journey.
We earned that free kick, Adcock, because he was the intercepting hand in a loose hand pass. Adcock from 52 in game 200, high and
wide.
A point. A point on the near side. North by 15 points, 6-7-43 to Brisbane's 4-4-28.
Del Santo's kicking in quickly to the pocket for Bastanak, who's releasing Harvey. Has a bounce. Hand pass to Wright. 500 games between them. Hand pass to Petrie. Petrie kicks towards half forward. Merritt's a chance to intercept here, and he juggles the mark, but the umpire says no, the juggle occurred over the boundary line, and Merritt
He'll give away a free kick. Yeah, that should be a free kick. Hasn't he got to give the ball back to the boundary umpire? He's lucky there, Dan Merritt.
After it ricocheted off the fence. Tossed back in by the boundary umpire. He was cranky. Redhead fired up. Goldstein. Hand pass to Higgins. His kick, I think a hand on that on the way through. Punched by Clark, taken by Merritt, defensive 50. He gives the hand pass to Mays, clearing kick. And Rich did not go against Higgins. Higgins couldn't mark though, and Brisbane does come up with it, but Rich did not go. Comes to Zorko. Hand pass towards Martin near the logo. He gives to Robertson. Robertson confronted by Thompson. Held up. Umpire says mine. And I think the right decision as well. No prior opportunity. He was met in a big bear hug immediately. Rich is down on his haunches again. He is struggling.
Yep.
Okay,
no doubt.
Perhaps that's the reason he didn't go moments ago. Massive roundhouse right from Martin towards the boundary line. That's gone 35 metres. Robertson's going to get there a couple of metres in from the boundary line. Blayton pushing the back. Should be a free kick against Cunnington, but the umpire's going to say throw it in, centre wing on the Vulture Street side, and the crowd's not happy.
Why would you do that, Stephen Martin? You're forward to centre, and he's roundhouse the ball, massive whack, straight to centre wing boundary.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, Stars.
What's going on there?
From where I'm sitting.
Goldstein and Leuenberg are more traditional, try and tap it down. Underneath, kicked forward by Higgins in a rush manner for North to no great effect. Cunnington has to apply a tackle to keep the ball at half forward for North. He nearly comes away with it, but now Brisbane through Clark emerge. Hands it to Zorko. Zorko to Leuenberger. They're out the lines if they can find some space. Leuenberger's hands were a bit too hot for Beasley. He fumbled it and Ferrito comes through. Wins the football. Hands to Zeeble. Open goal. Bangs it through. Ultimate price paid for a bit of the fumbles from Hugh Beasley at half-back. And Jack Zeeble kicks his first of the night to put North back out beyond 20 points. 21 to be exact. At the half-hour mark of the second term, North Melbourne 7-7-49 to Brisbane's 4-4-28.
It's a shame from Brisbane's point of view, Stars, because they were actually out. You could see what they were trying to do, link up by hands. They're about to transfer the ball to the open side, and just that costly fumble. We should say it appears to be quite greasy and slippery out there. I don't think the skill level's been at any great height all night, but great pressure coming forward from Ferrito, and found Zeeble running into an open goal.
North, 2 of their 7 goals have come from very bad Brisbane mistakes. And a free kick in the middle to Goldstein. Goldstein's looking out towards the Stanley Street side, not seeing anything. He's going to kick it inside the 50. The target is Brown. Brown can't work his way into a good position, and there's a massive double fister. A volleyball-style pike there from Daniel Merritt, taken by Robinson of Brisbane. Hand pass on the wing to Christensen, got clipped high. Play goes on, hand pass to Paparone. He goes to ground, over the top of him Bastanak. He'll need to get this out. Bastanak steals it in the end. And there is a little bit of a dodgy blow of the siren, but we get there eventually. They borrowed the siren from York Park. Half-time here at the Gabba, although they have sorted that little issue out. Things much better down in sunny Launceston these days. North by 21 points at half-time. 7-7-49 to Brisbane 4-4-28. 3 goals to Petrie and singles to Zeeble, Cunnington, Turner and Brown for North Melbourne. And for Brisbane, 2 goals to Buick in that term and singles to Martin and Aish. So half-time in Brent Harvey's 400th, and the Kangaroos are up by 21.
So Brisbane won the term 3-3 to 2-2. And speaking of Brent Harvey, calling last entries to the competition on Facebook and Twitter. What you need to do is answer this question. Aside from the 1999 Grand Final, what has been Boomer's favourite individual game? We are going to announce the winner of this competition after the news break, which is coming up. All you need to do, go on to the ABC Grandstand Facebook page, and in the comments section where that question is noted, put your answer there or send us a tweet at ABC Grandstand with the hashtag ABC Boomer 400. The question, aside from the 99 grand final, what has been Boomer's favourite individual game? If you answer the question correctly and you are the person drawn from the hat, you can win a North Melbourne match day football signed by Boomer. And I know that producer Andrew Mays has got his social media hat. It's a virtual hat. He's got a virtual reality hat to make the draw. So he's in the studio. He's going to hit the close button on that competition very shortly and then use that virtual reality hat to pull out not a virtual but an actual winner who gets a signed North Melbourne match day football from the 400 gamer. So we're about to close that competition off. North by 21 points at half-time here. They've just hit half-time at Docklands, and Port Adelaide leads Essendon by 8 points. Port 10-5-65 to Essendon 8-9-57. Chad Wingard's got 2, Need with 2, Schultz with 2 for Port. And they're the only multiple goal kickers on the ground. To complete the goal kickers there, Boak and Ebert and Lobie, along with Westhoff, also goals for Port, while for Essendon, Hooker with 2, Merritt, Goddard, Heppel, Hurley, Laverde, and the other Merritts are both Merritts with goals there. For the Bombers, Port 10-5, Essendon 8-9, the Power by 8 points at half-time. After earlier today, Geelong, Adelaide and Fremantle were victors. Craig Starcevich, Jeff White, a few thoughts before we head to ABC News.
Jeff White.
Josh Fraser.
Jeff White, did I... Sorry.
Number one draft pick.
How are you, Whitey? Hope you're enjoying the call. Josh Fraser, you can go first.
Thanks, mate.
Well done, mate.
Yeah, good response from the Lions, Stars. They, what we identified at quarter time was that they just weren't being brave and being bold with the ball and their ball use and their run, and they were able to really change that around in the second quarter. It started with them getting their hands on the ball around contested situations and stoppages, but to their credit, they started to move the ball through some handball chains, started to run forward of the footy, use some angles, and started to make North Melbourne really defend them. Didn't come off all the time, and they probably got hurt the other way a couple of times, but at least we saw a shift in the way they were playing, which was terrific to see from them. North Melbourne on the other side, they just, I wouldn't say they shut up shop, they did go back into their shells. They weren't being as clean as they were in the first quarter. They weren't able to move the ball as effective as they were in the first quarter. Their tools didn't operate the same way. I didn't think that they were flying against one another at different times, and they didn't have that same space they had up until quarter time. But both teams, I think it's going to be the team that handles the conditions a little bit. Whilst it's not raining, it appears to be quite dewy and slippery. The skill level hasn't been of a great standard, so the team that can just handle that the better going inside 50 will be the team that can get a real advantage in the second half.
Yeah, we encourage teams to flip it around here, particularly Brisbane, play some fast footy and flip the ball around by hands. But as you said, if it's a little bit greasy, that's where it gets a little bit dangerous, doesn't it, when they're doing that? I think when they've tried to do that, apart from that blunder by Beasley where he fumbled the ball at half-back and it's end up in a North Melbourne goal, they've actually flicked it around through the middle of the ground quite well. When they've gone forward, though, they just need to keep a little bit of composure, keep the eyes low and try and hit up a target 40 out-ish, because when they've just blazed away, there's Scott Thompson just sitting back in the hole, just collecting everything. So you've got to make sure that they're very aware of that spare defender that's back there for North. I think it's working better for North than it is for Brisbane. Yep. If I was coaching Brisbane or in that, we'd have someone, I reckon, rounding that person up. I don't think it's working at either end as best for Brisbane as it is for North.
In the first quarter, Brisbane had their player behind the ball a fair way,
yep.
and then they brought him up to the stoppage, which
yep.
I think helped them actually win a bit of footy around that area.
That number there, yeah.
But as you said, the quick kick goes straight to Scotty Thompson, and it's coming back in the Lions players' faces. But interesting tactical battle there. But again, as you said, it's their ability to just lower their eyes going inside 50 and then get some numbers forward to the ball to potentially get some set shots on goal.
Thanks, Jeff. Josh. Now, I've actually just been sent a photo by Andrew Mays back in the studio. He has got a hat for the Boomer draw, so I'm going to send out a tweet.
Big top hat job?
No, it's one of those American baseball hats.
Oh, come on. Amazing.
So, Last chances for the Boomer 400 draw. What is Boomer's favourite game outside of the 1999 Grand Final? Half-time here, it's North by 21. Half-time at Docklands, it's Port Adelaide by 8 points. To the news and then the answer of that question and the winner of the Boomer competition.
This is ABC News. I'm Catherine McGann. The opposition leader, Bill Shorten, has headed off a push to prevent him from adopting the policy of asylum seeker boat turnbacks. Jane Norman reports from Melbourne.
After days of internal wrangling, Labor's National Conference finally had the chance to debate the contentious issue of boat turnbacks. Labor MP and Left faction member Andrew Giles was interrupted by protesters while speaking in favour of his motion to ban boat turnbacks.
I am unconvinced by their effectiveness.
Labor frontbencher and former Immigration Minister Tony Burke spoke passionately against it.
We often refer to the line, the evidence is in. On this one, the evidence is in.
Frontbenchers Anthony Albanese, Tanya Plibersek and Penny Wong voted for the motion to ban boat turnbacks, but it was ultimately defeated. It's a win for Mr Shorten, who wants Labor to adopt the policy.
A young woman who saw her father being killed by a shark off Tasmania's east coast this morning has been described as deeply traumatised by the incident. Ellen Coulter reports.
The man in his late 40s and his daughter were diving for scallops near Maria Island off Tasmania's east coast this morning. Police say the woman returned to the dinghy between 7 and 8 o'clock, but when her father didn't resurface, she got back in and saw a large shark attacking him. The woman raised the alarm and nearby boaters pulled the man up by his air supply hose, but his injuries were fatal. Inspector David Wiss says the daughter, in her 20s, is receiving support.
And she's deeply traumatised. The wife of the deceased male is deeply traumatised as well.
Another pair of divers had a near miss with a great white shark in the same area yesterday afternoon and reported the incident this morning.
The National Parks and Wildlife Service is warning anyone on the water around Sydney's Middle Harbour to be aware of the whale in the area. The juvenile southern right whale was first spotted off the northern beaches and has spent today frolicking and bellowing around Balmoral. But Coordinator of Marine Fauna Programs for the Parks and Wildlife Service, Jeff Ross, says the whale won't be monitored overnight.
During the night time, it's most important for any vessel users who are using the harbour just to pay particular attention, particularly if they're coming and going from the Spit or via Middle Head. Right whales are very hard to see, and one inside the harbour does present an issue for perhaps vessel collisions.
A woman charged with the murder of her newborn baby at Newcastle in New South Wales has been refused bail. Claire Mortensen has more.
The 26-year-old woman did not appear in Newcastle local court today. Instead, she was represented by a translator. She did not apply for bail and was formally refused. The woman is accused of murdering her baby girl between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. at a home in Wallsend on Friday. No family members were present in court, and police haven't specified what injuries the baby sustained, saying only that a post-mortem examination has been carried out. The woman is expected to face Newcastle local court again on Wednesday. Claire Mortensen, ABC News, Newcastle.
The world's first malaria vaccine is one step closer to being approved for use after European regulators gave it the green light. Europe correspondent Mary Gearin reports.
After decades of research, no other vaccine has made it this far in the regulatory approval process. Pharmaceutical giant GlaxoSmithKline says it will make the vaccine at cost value. It's not perfect. It has limited effectiveness in young babies. It reduces the cases of severe malaria by just a third, and it requires 4 doses, which could be difficult in developing countries. Still, scientists have welcomed this as a significant breakthrough in the fight against the mosquito-borne parasitic infection that kills nearly 600,000 people a year. Experts at the WHO will meet to consider the vaccine in October. Mary Gearin, ABC News.
A Melbourne nurse who was allegedly involved with Islamic State in Syria has been extradited to Victoria this evening. Adam Brookman flew back to Australia last night and faced court in Sydney today, where the extradition order was granted to the Melbourne Joint Counter-Terrorism Team. The father of 5 is expected to face court in Melbourne tomorrow. He is yet to be charged. Briefly to sport in rugby league, Melbourne Storm has beaten St George Illawarra 22 points to 4 in Napier. Earlier, Manly defeated the New Zealand Warriors 32 points to 12 in Auckland. Tomorrow's weather now: Brisbane, showers clearing 26, Sydney sunny and 20, Canberra a possible shower, a top of 10 degrees, Melbourne a shower or two and 11, Hobart windy with rain, also 11 degrees, Adelaide can expect a possible shower, a top of 13 degrees, Perth will be mostly sunny and 19, Darwin a sunny day, 32 degrees.
Hi, Miff Warhurst here from Double J. Join me as I bring you classic interviews and tunes, plus new music I know you're going to love. You can find me on Double J if you have a digital radio, stream it at doublej.net.au, put it in your pocket with the ABC Radio app, and we're even on your telly. Channel 200 on free-to-air or search for Double J. So check it out. You might just like what you hear.
Grandstand AFL.
So Andrew Moore about to...
Zeeble inside the centre square near the bullseye. Goes towards Petrie, who stands tall. Petrie for 3. He kicks towards the western end. He's got 3.
Not much of an angle. 40 out for Aish on the right boot. He kicks to Major. Just his second of the year and Brisbane's third of the night.
Martin the tap. Down at his feet. Buick kicked into the shins of Wright. It comes out the back again to Buick. Hacks a kick at goal. That is utterly something from nothing.
Hands it to Zorko. Zorko to Leuenberger. They're out the lines if they can find some space. Leuenberger's hands are a bit too hot for Beasley. He fumbled it and Ferrito comes through. Wins the football. Hands to Zeeble. Open goal. Bangs it through.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio and on ABC Grandstand Digital.
Game number 400 for Brent Harvey and his North Melbourne Kangaroos lead the Brisbane Lions by 21 points at halftime at the Gabba. Welcome back. Quentin Hull and the team enjoying a pretty decent contest to this point of the game. North led by 28 at quarter time and Brisbane winning the second term to eat 7 points into that advantage. But the Kangas have a 21-point lead, 7-7-49 to Brisbane's 4-4-28. Meanwhile, it's half-time at Docklands and Port Adelaide and Essendon are engaged in a tight battle there with Port leading by 8 points at half-time. Port Adelaide 65-57 over the Bombers, 10-5 to 8-9 with Essendon leading for the majority of the first quarter and a half before Port put on a surge midway through the second term. So it's Port 10-5, 65 to Essendon's 8-9, 57. Everyone waiting with bated breath for the announcement of the winner of our Boomer 400 competition. Just before we reveal the lucky name that emerged from Andrew Mays' New York Yankees baseball cap. So he didn't pull a name out of the hat, but he pulled it out of the cap. You can jump on Twitter to see the photo of that cap. A very sprightly looking Andrew Mays in the studio back in Melbourne this evening. Before we reveal the name though, Mays is about to hit a button so we can hear from David Mundy, who kicked the winning goal for the Dockers. They got out of jail to beat Richmond by 4 points at the MCG. Fremantle 12-10-82 to Richmond's 10-18-78. Here's the man who kicked the last major of the game.
David Mundy, welcome to ABC Grandstand. That's a bit of a childhood dream. The last minute, last kick. Talk us through that. 50 metres.
Yeah, I was just saying to a couple of the boys, I had a goal kicking comp on Wednesday with Tendai Mzungu and Matthew De Boer and actually lost that horrendously and owe them both a coffee. So it was good to kind of bounce back in those kind of conditions.
Have you ever done that before? A match winner?
Lost a goal kicking comp, I certainly have. No, I had a chance against Geelong last year. Everyone keeps bringing up that I missed. So it was good to get redemption today.
I wasn't sure whether you had the miles in your legs at that stage of the game. Been a pretty intense game.
Oh, did I look tired, did I? I certainly was. But, yeah, no, I knew I could get the journey. It was just a matter of my routine pre-kick. So I was pretty happy that was rock solid and got me through.
You've had quite a long meeting with the coaching staff there. How was Ross about that? Because, for a lot of the game, Richmond probably had you covered, but their bad kicking probably cost them. Did you think you pinched the game?
Yeah, in certain aspects, certainly. They're really dominant. I didn't know any stats until we walked in there. We only had 170 kicks and they had 200 and something, so that never bodes well. But I guess what that proves is that we can really fight on, even though certain aspects of the game aren't going well for us. We've got a massive ticker as a group and we really fought on hard.
We were talking to Bluey McKenna before the game, and we were saying that a lot of people are ready to talk you down at the moment, but you're still on top of the ladder. I'm not sure how you can fly under the radar when you're on top of the ladder, but everyone wants to talk about Hawthorn. How do you generally feel you're going?
Well, certainly we're not at the best that we have been, and we know we can play a lot better, and I think it's justified all the talk about Hawthorn. They're playing extraordinary football at the moment, continued on last night, so they're certainly the benchmark, and they're who everyone's chasing.
David Mundy. Yes, that kick at Cardinia Park, almost the childhood dream, but he got to fulfil it at the MCG instead with that last major kick of the game to get the Dockers to a 4-point victory over Richmond. Earlier today, Geelong by 27 points over Greater Western Sydney at Manuka Oval in Canberra, and Adelaide by 39 points over the Gold Coast Suns at the Adelaide Oval. In the NRL today, Manly 32 beat the New Zealand Warriors 12 in the afternoon game across the ditch. The Melbourne Storm defeated the St George Illawarra Dragons in the 5:30 Eastern start time game. Storm at Amy Park, 22-4 victors over the Dragons. Meanwhile, it's half-time at the Olympic Stadium in Sydney, and South Sydney leads Newcastle 36 points to 6. Gentlemen, mic's on. Get close to the desk. Drum roll. The winner of the Boomer 400 competition. Congratulations to Matthew Oliver, who correctly guessed the game via Twitter. That question was, outside of the 99 grand final, what does Boomer Harvey consider his favourite game? Well, the game is round 3, 2010 against West Coast, where North Melbourne beat the Eagles by 25 points. The previous week, Brent Harvey had only 5 touches against St Kilda. And there was a lot of discussion in the lead into the game against the Eagles that he was too old. He's up to 400 tonight. Well, back in game 282, that was, in his career, Harvey responded with 19 kicks, 25 handballs, 44 possessions and 11 marks to help North win by 25 points. And that was a game where he had 7 bounces and hit the post on one of his famous dashing runs. So thanks to everyone who entered via Facebook or via Twitter. The Grandstand team will be in touch with you, Matthew. Matthew Oliver, the winner with that correct guess, and he receives the North Melbourne Match Day football signed by Brent Harvey. Thanks to North and to Boomer and everyone involved in allowing that little bit of special memorabilia to be a part of our day of broadcasting Boomer Harvey's special day.
What a great prize. That's an absolute ripper. And he's going nicely tonight, Brent Harvey, as well. Equal leading possession get at a half-time, guys, in his 400th game. He's had 16 touches after he cracked 30 for the first time this season last week against Essendon, had 34. So he's going along nicely again, Brent Harvey.
What about the breakdown there, Al? 2 kicks and 14 hand passes.
3 clearances, 2 tackles, 4 contested possession. As you'd expect, a pretty good efficiency, 88%. Jack Redden's also had 16, so he's the other leading possession getter on the ground. But I'll take you through some of the leading ball winners for North Melbourne. Dal Santos had 14, Gibson's had 14, Thompson's had 13, Swallow has had 12, Higgins 11, Cunnington 10 and Bastanak 10. They're the ones in double figures. And for the Lions, in addition to Redden's 16, Mays has had 12, Zorko's had 12, Christensen's had 12, Taylor and Aish with 11 also in double figures. But Daniel Rich seems hampered by something. He's had only 6 possessions. Rockcliffe hampered by playing on Ben Jacobs, I think, who's doing a wonderful job on him. He's had only 7 possessions as we start the second half on Grandstand AFL. North by 21 points. And out of the middle, there's a Falcon, a hand pass from Jacobs, I think into the head of Swallow. And the ball's come back into the congestion and the umpire will throw it in the air just outside the second of the 2 circles. Up it goes. Leuenberger. Zorko through his legs under pressure from Higgins. Taken by Higgins now, and he thumps a left footer inside the 50. Clark's well placed to paddle towards the boundary line. He wants this out under pressure from Brown, and he wins out and it'll be thrown in 35 metres from goal. Alistair Nicholson, Quentin Hull, Craig Starcevich, Josh Fraser and Zane Bojack with you on Grandstand AFL in Brent Harvey's 400th, Jad Adcock's 200th, Sam Wright and Sean Atlee's 100th. Taylor's got it, gives to Andrews, round the back to Taylor. Well, he's got in a bind again, but this time he hits a target, and it's marked in the left back pocket for Brisbane by Paparone. Paparone measures his pass, and Mays has got it. Still just inside the defensive 50 for Brisbane. And doesn't see much that he likes. He's going to thump it to a contest on the Stanley Street wing, going up Tarrant, spoiling away from the pack. Buick near the boundary line. He picks up, immediately tackled, and the umpire will call for it near the boundary line. The attacking side of the wing for North Melbourne. They're going to the eastern end. And we've mentioned it during the call. A lot of North Melbourne supporters on that bottom deck at the eastern end have come up for Brent Harvey's 400th.
Off the ruck contest. Well, half a chance for Bastanak, who just tapped it to the advantage of Gibson. He's under pressure, gives to Atlee, back to Bastanak, tackled by Mitch Robinson, gathered by Zorko. He's run over the boundary line by Jacobs. Out of play. Well,
free kick.
Now there's a free kick to Zorko, and I'm not quite sure what the umpire gave that for. It's far side of the field, and I took my eyes off that. Zane, did you get that?
Yeah, Ben Jacobs pushed Zorko into the advertising hoarding, and the umpire said we won't be having that.
Okay, went short to Buick. Buick goes short to Martin. Mark 70 out left half forward. Kick inside 50. Richards the leading target. Fisted away by Ferrito. Ground level. Plenty of willing, but no, ultimately victorious footballers clearing the ball of that congestion, and it will be tossed in the air. 30 from Brisbane's goal.
He has to be not well, Daniel Rich, to be playing permanent forward so early in the quarter, Josh.
It's marked up by McDonald at the moment. From that ruck contest, Taylor's trying to impose round the back. A critical hand in there down low. That was from Jacobs, knocked it North's way. It rumbles out towards the boundary line, and it'll be taken out by Martin.
So you can. That looked like a slide-in free kick, didn't it? Took his legs out.
Yeah. Jacobs coming in there on Taylor as it's tossed back in on the attacking 50. Goldstein palms it down, but straight to Martin, gives to Robinson somehow. Hacks a kick forward. In the pocket, Adcock's got it. Atlee on his hammer. Strong tackle, picks him up and plants him firmly into the Gabba turf. And the umpire is blindsided from where I am. I think he's called for a ball up, or has he dumped it?
Kick.
Okay.
Yeah, played the sling
He
tackle.
definitely picked up and dumped. There's no doubt about that. A bit of push and shove. Yeah, he slung him, but I mean, he's landed on the ball, on his chest. Free kick,
so what's the
30
free kick
metres
for?
out in the pocket.
Is it in the back or
sling tackle?
Adcock's hurt, I think, because he's winded, because his chest landed on the ball.
The sling tackle, though, doesn't draw a free kick. It draws a report. Correct?
Well, the umpire used a dumping motion with his arms.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah, that's back.
Adcock's coming off.
I don't know what.
Oh, no, he's not. He's okay. Zorko was going to take the kick, but Adcock said, no, this is my milestone, Mr. Mosquito Man. Give me the ball. And this is a really important kick for Brisbane. And this was Brown's pocket. It's becoming Green's pocket near the race. He comes in from 30 out. The former captain has kicked it across the face and through for a minor score. So North Melbourne's lead early in the third term, 4 minutes in, is 20 points.
That can only be a kick for unduly rough play. Stars.
Perhaps.
You'd think.
But even that's not a free kick. It's got to be high or in the back. It's got to be something.
I thought he was in danger of being pinged for holding the ball. I couldn't see the umpire behind the pack.
Well, North have cleared it to the wing. Kick to half-back marked by Cunnington. He kicks to the wing where Higgins gathers. Runs backwards before slapping it on his left boot. A high ball towards half-forward. Zeeble, last in line, most likely, almost marked McDonald Roves. He's got space at half-forward. Get to Ham, pass to Gibson. Gibson kicks to full forward. Tangle in the goal mouth. North Melbourne free kick to Petrie against Harris Andrews.
He was a bit stiff there, Harris Andrews. I thought he did most of the things he would have wanted from a key defender in that situation. The ball coming in quick, one out on a key forward in Drew Petrie. He just probably turned his body at the wrong time and ended up facing Petrie, which drew the umpire's attention. But he did most of the stuff you would have wanted there. Petrie
for his fourth, and a very good return to footy after a week in the naughty corner. North Melbourne back by 26 points now. 8-7-55 to Brisbane's 4-5-29.
Just the last part of that bit of defending, Harris Andrews actually had his arm draped across the front of Drew Petrie, who had him by the arm. I think the umpires probably latched onto that look Josh, more than anything else.
Well, Petrie had him done for strength, and in trying to hold his ground, the young defenders grabbed hold of Petrie's arm, but he'll learn. The positive for him is he's finding himself on the body at the right times. He's not getting lost in transition. But just a learning curve there.
It's Petrie's best haul of the season. 4 tonight so far. Leuenberger and Goldstein. A clear win for Goldstein in the middle, but who's the road? Redden's got it immediately tackled by Swallow. He's a tackling machine. Averages over 8 tackles a game. And the ball not coming out. It'll be thrown in the air, still inside the centre square. North with the first goal of the second half. Robinson, third man up, punches towards the wing. Clark can't gather, taken by Turner of North Melbourne. Tumble punts it towards half forward. Coming out to meet it, Merritt, and picking it up and mown down by Petrie. How's that, umpire? Ball. Petrie's free kick, 65 out.
He's been good all night, Drew Petrie. Just his energy. Like we mentioned it really early in the first quarter, he's been terrific.
It's a thumping ball to the teeth of goal. Back with the flight, Clark spoils. Andrews could have marked that if the two communicated a little better. It's gone out of play in the right forward pocket.
Just watching from that last centre bounce stoppage, North Melbourne only had 2 key forwards inside their forward 50, so they've emptied it right out, looking to create some quick ball movement.
Leuenberger taps down. Hopes for a rover. Zorko provides. He's tackled by opposite 15 Del Santo. In fact, it was Mitch Robinson there, obscured by the tackle of Del Santo. Robinson got rid of it over the line. And it will be thrown in. Still deep in attack for North. The Kangas by 26 points. Goldstein takes clean possession. Just got rid of it in time, but loses the ball. Cleared by Paparone of Brisbane to left half back. Martin tackled. Holding the ball. Great tackle from Robbie Tarrant. So Tarrant just forward of the wing for North will put the Kangas back into a scoring position. Around the boundary line he goes to the pocket. Huge pack. Off hands, out of play. So North with the 1 goal, Brisbane with 1 behind. Since the resumption from half-time, it's the Kangas by 26 points. They're back underway at Docklands, and Port's got another goal to lead by 14, 71-54.
Throw-in cleared the ruckman. Christensen roved and got a kick outside defensive 50. Near the boundary line, well trapped by Ferrito on the non-preferred left back inside 50. Andrews up in the pack, can't mark. Bastanak roves, tumble punts towards goal. Onto it, Turner, gives to Harvey. Boomer goes bang from the goal square. He delivers a moment in his milestone. He's kicked many tougher. But North now out by 32, and Vulture Street's become Arden Street. Blue and white everywhere. The fans are up and making some noise. 9-7-61 to 4-5-29.
And a great reward for those North fans, because he could not have been physically closer to the fence to kick that goal, Brent Harvey, at the eastern end, right in front of that big pocket of North Melbourne supporters. And there's a banner there that reads, "Congrats, Brent Harvey, 400 games."
And just in case he wasn't, Jack Redden gave me a little nudge too into the fence just to get a little bit closer.
So an important move in the game as well. First 2 goals of the second half to North Melbourne. Centre bounce. Goldstein, sublime service to Cunnington, who's tackled by Redding, but Cunnington gets a hand pass to Swallow, and a rushed kick goes to half forward. Petrie got hit on the face by the ball and Daniel Merritt. And Petrie gets the free kick. 60 out. Kicks to the pocket looking for Waite, who slides to his knees and takes a chest mark.
It's a great kick. It's in an awkward spot.
Waite plays on, opens up the angle, shoots near side. On the right boot, kicks are behind. 9-8, 62 to 4-5-29.
It's been a Jared Waite kind of a night. Jared Waite kind of a season. Did kick 7 against Brisbane, and he's contributed at times, but Carlton fans are saying, "I told you so" as well at various stages. Ferrito hand pass over the top at half back after the kick in went his way. Came to Brown. Brown curling ball back inside the 50. Robertson couldn't mark for Brisbane. There's a strong tackle from Garner that forces a neutral inside the 50, 40 metres from goal. And Beasley looks like he's a little sore underneath all of that.
I think Brisbane stars from here need to look at how they exit this 50 stoppage. There have been quick kicks that have been coming straight back inside. They need to try and chain out with handball if they can.
Martin takes it, hand passes to Paparone, to Taylor on defensive 50, high left foot kick to a 1-on-1. Leuenberger wrestling with Ferrito. Ferrito falls to ground. Adcock picks up. He's tackled by Jacob. Spills Attlee's way. Goes to right. Right's high up and down in the mine shaft. Goes out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Brisbane at left half back to be taken by Rockcliffe. Short ball back to the point of the square. Robertson takes it.
And there's your point, Josh Fraser. As much as Brisbane's got the ball, couple of hand passes and then the kick. They couldn't get it beyond halfway. And now they have to try the switch to Harris Andrews at right half back. He's got a man in space on the wing. Beasley takes the mark. Hand passes to Redden, who wasn't really advantaged by that hand pass. And Redden kicks it 35 metres laterally to his right, and it bounces and goes out of play.
Beasley had the right idea, but you need some runners coming from behind as well, don't you? You need almost your whole back half running through the middle of the ground there in a wave to get the ball rolling forward.
Throw in. Martin got rid of Brown. His kick go was smothered. Back underneath the pack. Cunnington and Zorko engage. Zorko over it. Cunnington over him. Free kick against Cunnington over the shoulder. So the Broadbeach Cats. And Zorko with the free kick. Chips in board. Marked by Beasley just before Waite closed in time. Waite's pressuring Paparone as he received a hand pass and kicks backwards to Harris Andrews. He'll complete the horseshoe to left half back, but the kick's not great. Dan Merritt's going to have to reach down and pick it up. He's got little Turner against him. Good pressure from Turner. Merritt's kick towards the wing. Coming out is Mays. Couldn't gather, but Taylor's got the ball. He gives to Dawson. Dawson back to Taylor on the wing. Brisbane stuck on halfway. Now Taylor says, I'll boot it to half forward and hope. 2-on-1 against Staker in the contest, and Tarrant's fist clears the immediate danger for North by dumping it out of play on the left half forward flank for Brisbane.
I love his work rate, but he's a real problem for him, Louis Taylor, because he just runs around in circles, doesn't straighten the team up off half back. You've got to use him somewhere else where he's not going to muck the team up, if you know what I mean.
Rockcliffe on the 50. Hand pass on the deck, missed by Thompson. Adcock's bumped off it strongly. And now the ball's going to be locked in, although Zeeble tries to wrestle it away. Cunnington initially doing some good work for North. Zeeble can't find a way out. It'll be thrown in the air 35 metres from Brisbane's goal at the western end of the Gabba.
So is that indicative of his play or the lack of structure for Brisbane, Stars?
I think it's the way he plays, actually. He does tend to run around in circles a little bit. And if it's forward or centre, it's not an issue. But if it's backward there and you're trying to straighten the team up coming forward.
It looked like he's had the right idea a couple of times to get the ball open side, but there hasn't been any movement, and then he comes back into trouble, which I completely agree with Stars. He needs to commit to doing one thing or another.
Brown got a free kick in the ruck, used Higgins. Out on the wing, he had a couple of bounces. Kicks towards Petrie inside the 50, and Merritt's fist is getting a workout down there at the moment. He's put it out of play in the left forward pocket. A rising star last year, Lewis Taylor.
Where do you play him, Stars, then? If you play him on a wing?
Yeah, definitely wing or half forward, high half forward.
Throw in an attack for North Melbourne. At the coalface, Dawson gets a hand pass clear for Brisbane, but stolen by Higgins of North. He will get a free kick. He got rid of the hand pass and then got pushed by Redden. So Sean Higgins, hard on the boundary line. Well, I thought it was Higgins' free kick, and, well, it was to advantage upfield. So that's why it's going to go to Taylor Garner, who's 5 metres closer to goal. Garner just sets it up to Brown, who's a pretty easy target to spoil underneath Bastanak. Got it, got tackled, got rid of it to Brown. Brown's rush kick on goal, semi-smothered. Mitch Robinson gathers in the pocket, receives a hand pass from Lou Taylor, and Robinson kicks the Lions clear. But not for long. If it can stay in, oh yes, it just goes out of play. That was lucky for Brisbane because Thompson had got there in plenty of time for North, but just couldn't get the brakes on before he ran out of play. So a throw in right half forward for North Melbourne.
North by 33 points at the 14-minute mark of the third term. Rich has it. He gets a hand pass on the edge of the square to Redden. Threads it through to Aish. Aish with a little bit of room to move. Zeeble jumps and pushes him just as he kicks. Buick clatters into his opponent, McDonald. It gets to the back, and in the goal mouth, a fumble there for Tarrant, but it's okay. McDonald there to lend support. Hand pass to Ferrito. Great harassment from Brisbane, but Buick gets Ferrito high. Free kick next to the left behind post. As he kicks horribly, a floater that just pitches inside the field of play and goes out.
Yeah, shocker by Ferrito, but that's the other issue for Brisbane too. When they eventually do go forward, it's outnumbered because the goalkeeper's back there waiting, the North spare. So tactically, you've got to round that person up somehow. I wouldn't be allowing the spare if it was us.
Martin up against Goldstein. Martin may have won, but there's a free kick in that contest, and the umpire signalling Goldstein's way, then signalling Martin's way. And there's a man on in the pocket. The kick, will it get there? No. Dalsato across the front, spoils away from Adcock and puts it out of play, 35 from goal.
That's a hard kick for a good midfielder, let alone your ruckman, isn't it? Just to try and chip it into that hole. It's a tough one.
North Melbourne by 33 points at the 16-minute mark of the third term at the Gabba. Well, again, Goldstein goes to ground out of that ruck contest. Martin gets it. He's pressured. His kick stays basically where the stoppage started, 50 from Brisbane's goal. Mitch Robinson hand passes out the back door, hoping for Raish, but he's got company in Waite. Waite picks it up. He's gang tackled. And that rugby maul ends up with the umpire saying, it's mine, I'll throw it in the air. 60 from Brisbane's goal. Right half forward for the Lions. Redden tries to jump over Goldstein. Got a bit of a tapped it towards the boundary line. Garner and Mays engaged, neither pick up. Boundary line the victor.
This is what you spoke about earlier, Stas, where North Melbourne's extra player is at the top of the goal square and Brisbane's is actually in amongst the stoppage. So if Brisbane loses clearance, they're a bit vulnerable defensively. And if they win it, it's going straight to a North Melbourne spare player.
Josh Fraser on grandstand AFL. Rockcliffe tries to slap it the way of Paparone, but Waite's in the way. He works it towards Dalsato, being harassed by Rich. He's almost knocked off it. Beasley fumbled. Zorko takes it, tackled by Swallow. Swallow punches it, but it's taken by Martin. Gives to Robinson. Robinson's trying to lift the lines. He kicks into the pocket. Buick in a wrestle, up he goes. There's a big spoil. Tarrant's playing a good game in defence for North, and he's sent it out here again, 35 metres from goal.
It's a waste of time doing that, though, because it's 3v2 every time in the air down there. Lower the eyes, try and find a target. Don't know how they do it other than manning up that spare.
90% of the players on the ground inside the lines, 50. Taylor farms a hand pass to Robinson. Defensively, he goes to Dawson, 55 out. Tries to hack a kick to the pocket. I think it's floating wide. Free kick North Melbourne in the left back pocket. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Guernsey number 3 for Boomer.
So
what's this one for?
Taking them off after each quarter. Thompson from the left back pocket. Kicks to a pack. Martin, a big fight for Brisbane. Couldn't complete the mark. Garner roves for North and kicks them from left half back to the wing. Merritt's out in front of Petrie, who had to play spoiler. That pair engage at ground level. Neither pick up. Turner arrives and kicks North into an open 50. Foot race. Gathered by Atley. Maybe. Yes. No. He tapped it twice and thrice. Couldn't get it. And then Jet Adcock runs it through for a rush behind. And the crowd like that from the 200 gamer as Sean Atley couldn't get a handle on that. North lead by 34.
Terrible kick in Zorko. Intercepted on the bounce by McDonald. Hand pass to Atley. He gives to Jacobs. Hacks a left foot kick on goal. It goes through hands and through for a minor score. And Zorko's gesticulating. He's an angry little fellow down there.
There's been more than one spray tonight between Brisbane players, Al.
35 points is North Melbourne's lead. Sean Atley so fast. Adcock had no chance of going with it.
Zorko kicks long from the kick in to left half back. Waits again very high and punching the ball out of play.
Yeah, when things are going poorly on the field, I mean, I've received that sort of spray, but I don't think it really.
Well, you've never given one, Stas?
No, well, may have, but
it is a worry when you're getting a spray from a member of the mosquito fleet. It should be the other way around.
Yeah.
Aisha's won the rove at the throw in left half back, but his kick is smothered.
Just trying to work out what my point was.
Picked up
I'll
by
get there in a minute.
Rockcliffe. He kicks to the wing, but kicks to a North Melbourne player. It's McDonald.
Doesn't serve any great purpose.
Well, not when your team's getting, towed up the way they are.
Particularly in that instance where the kick was probably more at fault than anyone else.
Yep.
North has it at right half back. McDonald kicks to Gibson. Gibson's kick to the middle of the ground is well marked in a contest by Turner.
That's exactly right. Zorko was trying to deflect the blame for his poor kick.
Turner outmarks Mitch Robinson. Poor kick inside 50 though. Sam Mays got back and marks it left half back. His kick just gets over the North defence, marked by Taylor. He hands to Rockcliffe. He to Beasley. He back to Taylor. Hand pass back to the pocket for Harris Andrews, who kicks it back to Louis Taylor. They're trying to get out of here. Taylor kicks it from right half back to the wing.
Underneath it, Buick did well. Hung in the air and protected the drop zone and marks in front of our broadcast position on the win. He wants to go to the corridor. Martin's the target and he hangs onto the mark with one hand, mind you. Runs away from Waite. Kicks to half forward. On the lead is Robinson. Great spoil away from him by Goldstein coming late. Wright picks up for North. Gives it to Brown. He'll be tackled by Zorko. Just got a hand pass with a legal one. Yes. And now a free kick, says the umpire, for over the shoulder to Brisbane. Point of the square for Mays. His chip past the half forward is a shocker. Wanted Rockcliffe, missed him by 6 metres. It's socked the way of Ferrito. He's tackled by Buick. Ball spills out. Christensen's got it. Bastonak's got him. It's gone up a notch. It's going to be a ball up at right half forward.
In intensity, if not quality,
correct.
Al.
There's some trash out there then, wasn't there? What about Goldstein's spoil without looking at the footy, the backhander, coming across the ground?
35 points is North Melbourne's lead. 21 minutes into the third term.
Is he the blowout chance to get Fife for the Brownlow, Goldstein?
Martin had his kick smothered on the 50 by Swallow. Got it back, gave to Taylor. Dances inside, and he's mown down now by Swallow. That's holding the ball. And Lewis Taylor doing things that surprised people last year. They're not surprised anymore, and he's getting nailed. Free kick to Swallow in the left back pocket.
What do you reckon, Josh Ruckman don't get enough Brownlow votes?
When was the last one? Scotty
White.
Yeah. He's a reasonable chance, though. He's had a fantastic season.
I think we're searching just to try and keep that Monday night of grand final week interesting, really. Ball kick towards the wing, off hands out of play. Boundary throw in. North Melbourne leads by 35 points here. They led by 28 at quarter time and 21 at half time. Have kicked 2 goals, 3-1 behind in this term. Crashing through the pack, Swallow for North Melbourne. Got a hand pass to Zeeble. Whacks a kick towards halfway. Merritt and Garner engage. Merritt spoiled. Garner battled on. Ball, though, is towed off the ground by Rich to his own advantage. Then hand passes over his head to Harris Andrews. He's tackled by Higgins. No prior. Umpire says, my ball.
They should just invite midfielders anyway. Q to the...
Someone's got to tap it to him, Fraser. Let's go to Zane Bojack. There's movement on the North Melbourne bench. It looks like the sub is being made.
Yeah, Lindsay Thomas has taken off the green vest, but we don't know who's going to be subbed just yet. It's someone that's on the field now.
Good on you, Zane. Leuenberger gets a free kick in the ruck. He's got it at right half back. He's looking inside defensive 50. Brisbane, at their best in this game, were using the corridor. That's not. It's kicking towards the boundary line. A kick that really favoured Scott Thompson more than anyone else. He ushers it out of play.
If you had to guess, it'd be Waite or Brown, and Jared Waite's actually running the bench now.
Good spot, Craig.
He hasn't had an impact. Stars.
So Lindsay Thomas, after a couple of weeks in the VFL, tossed back in on the wing. Leuenberger edged out by Goldstein. His hand pass along the ground. Zeeble gathers. He gets a kick into the middle. Here's a chance for Garner of North. He gathers. He gets a hand pass that misses the target. Pinched by Andrews. Gives to Rich. Kick to centre half forward. Marked by Staker. Open forward line for once. Get it moving. He chips a little further afield. And Zorko marks.
That was 8 metres.
Wow.
Wasn't even 10. That wasn't
even close.
That wasn't a mark in your day, Stars.
Not even close.
Zorko's got it. He's marked it on the 50 after the man who kicked it to him was 2 metres inside the centre square.
That is charity.
They have had a couple of breaks tonight, Brisbane. So Zorko directly in front, definitely within range. He loads up. He's shanked it horribly into the pocket. And the ball's going to bounce in front of a couple in Buick and also Goldstein and go out of play. Hands on hips. Dane Zorko's had a bit of a frustrating night. He's been better in recent weeks. He's broken through 30 possessions the last couple of matches. Hadn't done it prior in what's been a reasonably quiet year.
Brisbane in attack. Throwing in the right forward pocket. Plenty of willing. Who's going to pick it up? Martin for Brisbane. Hands to Redden. He's under pressure. Got an indiscriminate hand pass to Christensen, who's tackled by Zeeble. Not coming out.
Without backtracking too far, was Zorko ever going to kick that goal?
I think he was within range. He can kick 60.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The magician Zorko.
On the run, easy. Perhaps not the set shot.
Leuenberger taps down. Cunnington sharks the pack, though, for North. It bobbles to Swallow. Rush kick clear, not very clear. Taken by Rich, 55 from goal. Mark not paid. Play on. Tackle from behind by Petrie, holding the ball. Great work, Drew Petrie.
Just his whole energy tonight, Drew Petrie, has been fantastic. Defensively, offensively, just the whole lot.
I think when you look at where he's taken the ball in the defensive 50 Stars, you're exactly right. His ability to work up the ground and compete's been terrific.
And his use of the ball. Harvey, a great kick to him on the wing. He hand passes to Thomas, fresh on the ground. Thomas into the pocket, Brown the target, back with the flight. Merritt intercepts for Brisbane. Merritt to the corridor. Zorko, still 40 metres from the goals he's defending. Completes the switch out to left half back. Mark taken by Buick. Buick chip over the top. Taylor has to go. Higgins came at him and crunched him. Ball went out of play at right half forward. Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, the substitution's been made as well for Brisbane, and obviously Daniel McStay's going on. I think it's Beasley that's been subbed.
He came off at the same time as Jared Waite, so yeah, I reckon that is the go zone. Yes, I can see here that he has been subbed.
Free kick against Steph Martin in the ruck contest. Playing to advantage. Dal Santo takes it. Hand passes to a teammate who kicks North quickly inside 50. Dan Merritt fists it towards the boundary line, but Lindsay Thomas is close as well. Sprawling Dawson taps the ball out of play to ensure that Thomas couldn't gather and have a shot early in his night's work. Boundary throw in next to the behind post. North in the right forward pocket and leading the game by 35 points. Bit of an ugly scrap here at the Gabba. Back of the pack. Snap on goal by Jacobs for North is marked by Merritt. It was Higgins, in fact. Merritt takes the mark in the pocket, kicks to right half back, and Lou Taylor marks and holds up for Brisbane.
Taylor, he's getting plenty of the footy. 21 possessions. He chip passes to Robinson. Robinson still at right half back for Brisbane. Looking down the line. Corridor feeling awfully lonely now, and that's a poor kick, and Tarrant takes an easy mark. Defensive side of the wing for North Melbourne.
2v1.
Scores level at 78 at Docklands between the Bombers and Port.
Tarrant in the Brown direction. He ran under the ball there, and Harris Andrews took a 2-bite mark at right half back. Kicks back inside defensive 50. Merritt will mark. The switches onto Mays at left half back. That's where the kick goes. He's got Martin over the top. Thompson's onto this and chasing hard, but Martin will mark. Back towards the corridor. Adcock's there if he sees him. He doesn't. He holds it up. Too much of this from Brisbane. He tries to measure a pass to Zorko, and that's a pretty good kick in the end, and Zorko has taken the mark, hitting it at pace, centre wing in front of the interchange.
The little man kicks around the southern boundary line, hits the chest of the injected sub, Dan McStay, a long way from home. He kicks around the half-forward flank. Poor kick. Adcock was somewhere in the vicinity, but Wright was closer and takes an easy mark for North. Chip short to McDonald. McDonald marks at right half-back. North Melbourne 9-10-64. Brisbane 4-5-29. 27 and a half minutes played. Third term at the Gabba. McDonald with a left foot kick in the Goldstein direction on the wing. He decides to thump it instead of try to mark it out of play. Throw in on the southern wing.
Just watching Lindsay Thomas in the middle of the ground there, I've often wondered as a sub, do you think it's easier coming on fresh, or the fact that you haven't been involved in the game, it's harder to get into? I think it's a difficult position for a player to play.
Goldstein reaches over the top at that throw-in. Taylor was collared without the ball. No free kick. Then he collars his opponent, Bastanak, back, and there's no free kick to him, and then it goes out of play.
So come on and be a midfielder, or come on and be a small forward?
No, my point is that the perception is that because you're fresh, you should come on and have an impact, but it's not always that easy to get involved in the game, and particularly when you come on halfway or towards the end of a third quarter, you're limited with your opportunities, I think. Just going to be interesting to see how he goes as the game finishes off.
Robinson hacks Brisbane forward. Ferrito in front, punched it down, then Wright was taken high by Staker. What about the use of McStay then in a team that already lacks key position players and next to no forward targets? Daniel McStay starting as the sub. I mean, would the decision just be that you don't play him if you're going to use him as the sub?
You'd want a runner, wouldn't you? You'd want someone with a little bit more flexibility to play in more spots than just, key posts.
Wright's kick was a poor one from North to the wing. Brisbane intercepts and they switch from the southern to northern sides, and Redden takes the mark on halfway. Inside a minute to three-quarter time. Redden chips infield, marked by Rich, who's been suffering an ailment throughout the night, but he's battling on. The West Australian. Rich kicks to the middle of the ground. Paparone marks, mown down by Higgins as he tried to get his kick away. As a consequence, it spews off his boot, and Bastanak picks up for North. Hand passes to Higgins. Higgins kicks to Zeeble. No, beyond him. Inside 50. Zeeble was the only man there near the kick. Picked up by Brisbane's Clark. He's under pressure as he tries to kick clear. And the ball is out of play and will be thrown in on attacking 50 for North Melbourne.
It's Daniel Rich with his hands on his knees again. Like he's clearly been sick coming into the game. And I just wonder whether Beams and Hanley being out and him, obviously suffering, didn't give up his spot in the side because the other two were already out.
Holding on in the ruck contest. Looked like it probably should have gone Brisbane's way, but it's going to Goldstein, and Tom Rockcliffe had a look of astonishment on his face.
How about Steph Martin, though, with the hands on heads? He cannot believe. That's a couple of ruck infringements against Martin in the last few.
And Goldstein's going to have a shot. Martin on the mark, 45 metres out. The angle's 45 degrees. And Goldstein just settling into his approach. And he'll be kicking after the three-quarter time siren. He bangs it long from 49 metres. Oh, he's just missed on the left-hand side. And North Melbourne's lead will be an even 6 goals at three-quarter time. North 9-11-65. Brisbane 4-5-29. For North Melbourne, Petrie with 4 goals. That's his best haul of the season. And singles to Brown, Turner, Harvey, Cunnington and Zeeble. And for Brisbane, who in that term went goalless, only added 1 behind to North Melbourne's 2 goals for. Buick has 2, both of those coming in the second term, and singles to Martin and Ace. So things going to plan to a degree for North Melbourne in Boomers 400th. 36 points up, but they haven't played a classic brand of football, fair to say.
No, it's been a bit scrappy. Meanwhile, the game at Docklands is still 2 minutes away from quarter time, and it's a very tight game there. 84 apiece, 12-12 to 13-6 between the Bombers and the Power. The multiple goal kickers for the Dons, Hooker and Laverta, both with 2, while for Port Adelaide, Schultz, Wingard and Need both have 2 goals. So it's 12-12, 84 Essendon to Port Adelaide's 13-6, 84, with inside 2 minutes remaining there before three-quarter time. But we're at the final change here at the Gabba. North has a 36-point lead. You're hearing it on Grandstand AFL through ABC Local Radio, Grandstand Digital and ABC News Radio.
Australians trust ABC News. And did you know abc.net.au/news delivers
local news relevant to where you live.
Australia's best live coverage as news breaks here and overseas.
abc.net.au/news with excellent interactive features and in-depth analysis.
It's Australia's most active news service on social media. ABC News is for everyone.
And it's free.
abc.net.au/news.
Grandstand AFL.
Gets a hand pass to Gibson. Gibson kicks the full forward. Tangle in the goal mouth. North Melbourne free kick to Petrie. Petrie for his 4th. And a very good return to footy after a week in the naughty corner.
Ferrito on the non-preferred left back inside 50. Andrews up in the pack. Can't mark. Bastanak. Rose. Tumble punch towards goal. Onto it. Turner. Gives to Harvey. Boomer goes bang from the goal square. He delivers a moment in his milestone.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Local Radio and on ABC Grandstand Digital.
Well, he's got a good record in milestone games, Brent Harvey. Amazingly, he won his first game, 50th, 100th, 150th, 200th, 250th, 300th. Game, club, record-breaking game and 350th. He just doesn't lose when he gets into milestone game, Brent Harvey. And North Turn with a 6-goal lead here. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast via Grandstand AFL. Quentin Hull and Alistair Nicholson calling the action. Zane Bojak's on the boundary line. In a moment, Josh Fraser and Craig Starcevich to tell you a little more about this here, with North 9-11-65 to Brisbane's 4-5-29. Still 84 apiece between the Dons and the Power a minute before three-quarter time at Docklands. The last of 3 NRL games for the day has just been completed. South Sydney thrashing Newcastle by 52 points to 6. Winners earlier in the day. Manly 32-12 over the Warriors, and the Storm 22-4 over the Dragons. And if you didn't catch the AFL news of earlier today, Geelong by 27 over the Giants on a cold day at Manuka Oval. Gary Ablett with an injured knee as Adelaide defeated the Suns by 39 points at the Adelaide Oval. And David Mundy, the hero for Fremantle, as a wasteful Richmond threw away 4 points by 4 points. Fremantle 12-10-82 to the Tigers 10-18-78. Gentlemen, what say you about the last half hour that we've seen and the half hour ahead?
Not much happened, to be honest. There's a couple of goals scored by North, but Brisbane has got their hands on the footy. The possession count for them has gone back up onto even keel. Now they actually lead the possession count, would you believe, by 9. But inside 50s, North still have 19 more. However, at either end of the ground, because both teams are playing a spare at either end, these games are footy where one superior team should really be putting the other team to the sword. You don't get the big blowouts in scores because they've both got spares at either end, which makes it impossible for the opposition to score, but even harder for you to go the other way and score as well. So you tend to get these tighter games, but it's sort of papering over what is a bit of a mismatch, really. The 4 highest possession winners on the ground are Taylor, Redden, Mays and Robinson, but I've never seen more meaningless stats, Josh, to be honest. Those 4 guys, in terms of getting their team going forward and being penetrating, really, it's not telling us anything. Taylor, Redden, Mays and Robinson have not been getting the ball forward to centre and driving their team into attack.
Yeah, I had the exact point written down, Stars, that the mere fact that the Brisbane are in front of the disposal count, but yet they're not having any effect inside 50, I think just highlights that their willingness to, I guess, just uncontest possession of the ball behind centre and chip it around and try and get to the open side. They haven't made any inroads whatsoever. We spoke about it in that third quarter. They need to find a better way to exit the ball out of their defensive 50. Too often they got the ball from a stoppage or a contested situation and they hack-kicked it forward, where, as you just mentioned, the Kangaroos' spare players set up, so the Kangaroos get a re-entry and a shot on goal. So they've had a few structural issues tonight. North Melbourne have probably just done enough at this point, particularly the start to that third quarter where they were able to kick 2 goals, gave them that breathing space.
About to get underway in the final term. 22 for Taylor, 21 for Redden, 19 for Mays and Robinson, 18 for Martin and Zorko. Harvey's had 18, Gibson 17, Higgins 17, Dal Santo and Bastanak 16 apiece. North by 6 goals as we start the final term, and it's a tap for Goldstein. Zeeble attempts to rove, but he's immediately tackled by Rockcliffe and it's not spilling out. So secondary ball up. Both the subs are on, Lindsay Thomas and Daniel McStay. Beasley and Waite. Waite battling to have an influence. They're out of the game. Zeeble again gets it. Rockcliffe again gets him.
Looks like we're even in front of the ball both ends at this stage, Stars. So that's maybe Brisbane have decided to even things up, see how they go.
Can we get it out of the middle? No. Yes. Free kick. Jack Zeeble received the tap down from Goldstein, got one high from Rockcliffe, so he gets a free kick for North. Chips a short pass. And mark taken by Bastanak, who will go short to the sliding Harvey. And Brent Harvey marks too far out.
Where's the... I'm just going to chip it into the pocket, dance inside the opponent, run to 40 and goal. He's still got it.
He's 55 out. And he chips inside 50. Over the man on the mark. Lindsay Thomas should have taken a mark, but dropped it. Got to it uncontested, couldn't control it. Nick Robertson hacks a quick kick clear for Brisbane. To half back. No one there to pick up for Brisbane. Bursting through. No clean possession there. Over the line it goes. It's going to be thrown in front of Zane Bojack on the outer wing.
It's a fair effort, isn't it? In your 400th game, you're the 3rd highest possession winner on the ground. That's a great job.
Hands and knees. Mitch Robinson tries to pick up, but hand passes it to Goldstein. Rush kick inside 50 to a 2-on-2. Punched into the air. Gathered by Rockcliffe, tackled by Gibson. Rockcliffe got a hand pass to Merritt. Merritt slew to kick off the outside of his boot. And luckily for him, it bounced before going out of play.
Not pretty of late, this contest. North Melbourne doing what it needs to do. And a spot in the 8 is North's with victory tonight. Leuenberger lost Goldstein in the ruck contest, palmed it down, and then some holding on going on. And advantage paid away of North Melbourne, and Merritt's again got to make a spoil in the goal mouth, and he rushes this through for a minor score. So Goldstein got the free kick. Jacobs went on with it. And a minor score to North. 37 points the lead at the 2-minute mark of the final term.
So we need a bit of milestone action here to engage us a little more in the last quarter. It seems, unless Brisbane can find a couple of goals, and this is not going to help. Now, I was waiting for the ball to be kicked into play by Marco Paparone, and Ben Brown's been given a free kick for what I need to ask my colleagues for some help.
There were some bits and pieces going on off the ball with Lindsay Thomas and Rockcliffe. Yeah. But don't know where Ben Brown fits into the puzzle.
Gift for Brown, 15 out, directly in front. Oh, goal umpire had to work to his left. But Brown does kick the goal, his second. And the hopeful Lions fans looking for some type of a resurgence here. That doesn't help. The margin now beyond 40 points. 43 to be exact. 10-12-70. 2 to 4-5-29.
Could well have been Tommy Rockcliffe, actually.
Straight off the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, I reckon he's after Lindsay Thomas and him had the scuffle. It looks like he might have said something to the umpire on the way through, and free kick against.
He's got the headset on, so I think Justin Leppich is just having a quiet conversation with him at the moment. The Lions captain. He's had a tough night at the office after 14 possessions last week. Rockcliffe 13 tonight. Not the prolific numbers we saw last year, but he's had a lot of injury to contend with. Redden out of the middle for Brisbane. Kicks on the bounce to Staker. Did well to control and hand pass to Buick. They're backtracking, as we've said many times tonight. Taylor. Hand pass back to Zorko. Awful kick to the corridor. Redden. Spoiled away by Thomas. Taken by Harvey. He's well tackled. Loses the ball. Good stuff by Zorko, but he goes again. Comes to Higgins. Higgins works it back towards Harvey. He tries to punch it onto half forward. Rights out to meet it. Gives to Swallow as he was tackled by Mays. Swallow kicks to the edge of 50. Chance for Higgins, but it's spoiled away from him, and Merritt with another big fist. Paparone's coming at it. Harvey might get him. In the end, Paparone shuffled it towards Robinson. Robinson's hand pass is good. Ace has it on defensive 50. He works the hand pass to Zorko in traffic. He gets one over the top to half back. Taylor back to Zorko by hand. He's in a bind. Can he find a way out? No. Merritt waited for the kick. Brown went at it. Robinson never waits. He crashes in. He cops one in the head. Thomas has got it. Front point of the square. He's tackled. It'll be thrown in the air.
To be fair on the big source, I think the umpire
was in his way
out of the contest there. And now that umpire comes in to throw it in the air. Point of the centre square. Right half forward for North. Zorko Roves tackled by Higgins as soon as he gets it. Umpire comes in again.
I reckon that's umpire Lee Fisher too, so old habits die hard, don't they? Former St Kilda player.
He throws it in the air just inside the centre square. Ruck contest, free infringement again. Oh, Goldstein's got another one. No, that's just off the ruck contest. Del Santo being held out of the contest by Redden. Del Santo sublime as ever. Chips to Turner. Marks 40 from goal. Doesn't want to go for goal. Kicks to the pocket. Marked by Gibson. And Sam Gibson, who's played every game this year, has a chance to kick his 7th game of the year. A 7th goal of the year from 30 metres out. Slight angle to the left.
Well, it's an important quarter for North, given their position on the ladder and the way that things are shaping up. You know, that logjam between probably 5th and all the way down to Port Adelaide at 12th. If they can build on their percentage, it could come in very handy as the season closes out.
And they came in today just under 98% for the season. Josh, as Gibson helps that cause by kicking truly from 30 metres out. North now by 49 points. 11-12, 78 plays 4-5-29. We're 6 minutes into the final term at the Gabba. Meanwhile, the final term has just begun at Docklands. Tight one there. Port's kicked an early behind in that final term to lead by a point, 85-84.
Yeah, it's 23 scoring shots to 9, so it's really now starting to get away, isn't it? And the inside 50s, they're up by about 20 as well. So while there's been a few arm wrestles through the middle patch of this game, it's really been North have dominated the go forward.
So can Brisbane find some pride, or can North get that percentage booster that would come in handy perhaps? Matches for North coming up against Carlton, Melbourne and St Kilda. They could potentially cement a spot in the 8 as Higgins receives from Cunnington. Kicks deep inside the 50, not well weighted. Marked by Clark at the top of the goal square for Brisbane. Justin Clark to half back. Leuenberger, he'll take the mark. Hasn't had a bad night. Hand pass round the back to Rockcliffe. Back to Leuenberger and back to Rockcliffe. Rockcliffe from right half back into the middle. Adcock just takes the mark. 50. Errant with the kick. Yeah, just creeping over the mark. Higgins, no. He chips it out to the wing. Leuenberger takes the mark and plays on and thumps it long in front. Buick hangs in the air for just a moment. Wasn't high, but had to hang there and let his arms hang back to take that mark. 45 metres out, 10 metres in from the boundary on the left.
It was a harder mark than it looked, wasn't it? Just the fact that he got there a bit early and, as Al pointed out, just had to hang a bit and just still took it cleanly.
He's got to kick this because he turned his back to the goal. And when you do that, you take responsibility, so he needs to go back and slot it.
Buick kicked 2 goals in the second term when Brisbane were having a good patch. He kicks from 50 here. It's missing left all the way. Scraping in for a minor score, and the margin's back to 8 goals at the 8-minute mark of the final term. That was Brisbane's first score of any description since the early minutes of the third quarter.
It's only a little thing, Stars, but when you turn your back to goal, I think you're just telling your teammates that you're clearly not going to pass it, and it's just a habit that players get into, which I don't like.
Yeah, it's either backing yourself or it's selfish, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a fine line.
Well, Brisbane kicked 4 goals last week against Melbourne, and they've got 4 goals early in the final term here. And their last quarters of the last month have been very poor.
2 goals in them, Q.
not much to show for it. Del Santo will kick North Melbourne from left half back to the middle of the ground. Petrie marks and dishes to the running Thomas before he hit the ground. Thomas's kick inside 50 to the script. Harvey takes a mark, 25 out directly in front. He's already got one when he was running into an open goal at the opposite end. But now to the western and big scoreboard end, Brent Harvey has a chance to kick his 7th in his 400th game of league football.
Just about the best passage of play all night, wasn't it? Del Santo to Petrie. Didn't break stride, hand pass quickly to Thomas. And Thomas was about to blaze away, running to the top of the 50. So good on him for just lowering the eyes and spotting Boomer.
Brent Harvey, the stage is his for a second goal in game 400. He stabs at it and kicks the goal. Durable, cunning, annoying, but a champ. And he's got 2 here in his milestone game to put North out by 54 points. Well, now host broadcasters showing some highlights of Martin Pike kicking it to a young Boomer in the goal square at the MCG many years ago. And just look back at that first game he played in round 22 of 1996, which was a premiership year, of course, for North. And Glenn Freeborn came in for him and kicked 3 in the grand final against Sydney. And Boomer, though, went on to play in the reserves premiership in 96, having played in the Northern Knights premiership and the under-18s the year before.
Geez, it's hard to see another player reaching 400 games the way the modern game is started. It's a great effort.
Out of the middle go North Melbourne. Hand pass from Thomas out in front of Higgins through the 50. He kicks to the pocket. Not going to get to the target. Oh, it is Zeeble at the back after it was overrun there by Clark. Oh, good pressure on the goal mouth. It's rumbled towards the line and it's eventually shoot through by Bastanak. They made a mountain, a meal out of that North Melbourne, but they still get a goal to make the lead 10 goals at the 10-minute mark of the final term. 13-12-90 to 4-6-30. Initially, after Clark had fallen over, the kick got past him. Zeeble looked like he was going to wander into goal. And then a horrible scramble in the goal mouth. Brisbane's pressure good. It spilt Bastanak's way on the line near the left goal post and he popped it through. And now North is getting into that significant percentage boosted territory, Josh Fraser.
Yeah, they're just controlling the ball out of the stoppage of the centre part of the ground and just in general play. So disappointing fall away from the Lions because they've still got plenty to get out of this season and this will help their cause with a free kick out of the centre bounce.
So Stephen Martin's a chance to kick Brisbane forward. He gives the wraparound hand pass to Rockcliffe and kicks it wide. I don't know what that achieves.
Made no ground.
Well, they went backwards, actually. Liam Dawson marks just forward of right half back and it's stagnant in front of him. He has to chip. Succeeds. Finds the target. Mitch Robinson marks for Brisbane with a lather of plaster around his forehead. He tries to chip to Christensen. Too cute. Turner got in the way to intercept and North Melbourne wins the ball. Del Santo hand passes to Gibson. He hand passes to Thomas. Runs over the wing. Lindsay Thomas chips wide to Zeeble. Marks it. 55 out at left half forward. He swivels on the right. Kicks to Brown. Read it beautifully. Got to the drop. Takes a finger-tipping mark in the pocket and will have a shot from 25 out.
A little scuffle on the wing. Behind play.
At 150 metres away. Well, not quite that far, but a long way away from the play. Now it's broken up.
He's an important player to him, Ben Brown. He's got a good presence inside 50 and he's a tall player that when he goes for his marks, he takes them at the highest point. So he's got a distinct advantage. If he can keep kicking goals, he's going to be very valuable.
The mop-head number 50 for his 3rd. Has kicked the goal and the reaction at the Gabba tells you there's plenty of North fans here to enjoy this moment for their little champ and for their team. Brown's 3rd takes North out by 11 goals, 14-12 to 4-6.
Did he not kick a bag of 4 or 5 a few weeks back, Ben Brown? I can't remember who that was against, but I agree with you, Josh. He's very, very handy up forward. And, you know, Jared Waite's the one who's dipped out tonight, but, I mean, you've got all 3 of them up and going. You stretch the opposition defence and make life difficult for them.
He'd clearly be the preference over Adore, I would have thought, in their team.
Yep.
Goes into the ruck, gives Goldstein a chop out, but most importantly has an impact inside 50 for him.
Kicked 4 against Essendon last week, Stars.
Yep.
So from the middle, where North Melbourne are gaining dominance at the moment, Redden
Hand pass to Leuenberger, who sends Brisbane for a rare 4A forward. Martin keeps his feet in the contest. He tries to soccer it forward. In the way was Thompson. Christensen picks up, kicks it back towards the corridor. Robinson marks on his chest. 35 metres from goal. No real significant angle here for Mitch Robinson. They're playing for a bit of pride here, Brisbane. The Lions have not kicked a goal since Buick found the major opening at the 14-minute mark of the second term. We're 13, nearly 14 minutes into the final term. Robinson, as always, he's had a real crack. 22 possessions tonight. We'll finish it with plenty of bumps and bruises as always. Opens up the angle and he hooks that horribly. Away to the left. And there's a kick that sums up Brisbane's night. 65 points the lead to North Melbourne. 14 played final term.
He looked like Tiger Woods over a short chip there.
Yeah. Technique was all over the shop, wasn't it?
Just never looked confident. Dal Santo chips to himself, runs to the pocket, kicks to a pack at left half back. It ricochets into the hands of Paparone. Kicks it back inside 50 for Brisbane, and a mark in the pocket taken by Steph Martin, despite the late attention from Robbie Tarrant. So the big ruckman is a chance to try and thread the needle. Hard on the boundary in the right forward pocket. He's been prolific this year, Steph Martin. More than 400 hit-outs coming into tonight, but up against a guy who was near on 700 hit-outs for the year and leading all comers in that category in Goldstein.
I think that's more Goldstein rucking all night.
Yep.
Than anything else, isn't it?
Booze here for Steph Martin at the Gabba. In the right forward pocket, he's kicked it out of bounds on the full in the opposite pocket. And part of the ignominy here is for Brisbane. You know, we've heard in previous times, maybe Collingwood or Essendon were in their pomp. They come to the Gabba and the numbers of those really big clubs can out-sound, for lack of a better word, the locals. North Melbourne, traditionally, one of the smaller clubs members-wise, is now making more noise at the Gabba than the Brisbane Lions fans.
The Lions have the football on the wing. Rich into the middle. There's a neat pass. Mark taken by May's defensive side of the bullseye. His kick off the outside of the boot to switch the play out towards the wing. It's taken by Paparone on the bounce. And then the kick is intercepted by Goldstein. Goldstein back up the wing. Nicely waited for Dal Santo to run with the flight of the ball and mark in front of Zane Bojack on the Stanley Street side.
Yeah, good to see Goldstein get involved in that contest there because he had knocked the doctors away. They'd come out to him twice. I think he's struggling with his back, but Matthew Leuenberger is probably going to appreciate that.
Thanks, Zane. Keep an eye on that. Very important cog in the North Melbourne lineup. Harvey with a high ball for possession number 22 towards the half-forward flank. There was no mark taken. Robinson's on the bottom of the pack. Had it stripped away by Bastanak just as the umpire called for it.
Meanwhile, it's a 2-point lead to Port Adelaide at Docklands. 15-8-98 to Essendon's 14-12-96. 12 minutes travelled in the final term there. No clearance from the ball up on attacking 50 for North, so they'll try again. Thrown in the air, third up is Mitch Robinson. Punches it clear of the congestion for Redden, who gathers and hand passes to Christensen. He hand passes back, he threw it. No, play on. I thought he threw it for a minute. He was dumped after. Redden kicks towards half forward. Fly from McStay, couldn't mark. Roved by Taylor. Hands to Staker. Back to Taylor. Tries a banana goal from the pocket. Oh, it's the post. It's the far post. And still can't get a goal. That would have been a pretty special one had he finished it, Lou Taylor. Brisbane still 4 goals. Haven't kicked a goal since the 14-minute mark of the second term. We're now 17 into the last. 4-8-32 to 14-12-96.
Right with the kicking in duties for North Melbourne, and he finds a target on the way out as well. The mark at right half back taken by Atley. So 100 gamer to 100 gamer, and then up the line Petrie takes the mark. Near the boundary line in front of our broadcast position on the Vulture Street side. Petrie's looking laterally. And he'll kick it back inside defensive 50 to Swallow. 3-time best and fairest. Chips towards the edge of defensive 50. McDonald's got it. He'll kick through defensive 50. Lovely switch of play from North Melbourne. Ferrito's all on his own on the wing. He chips back towards the corridor. Thompson takes the mark on the edge of the square on halfway. Thompson's going to hold it up. Chips to the edge of 50. Thomas on the lead, and he marks on his chest, protecting the ball. away from his opponent as he did so. 55 metres from goal. McStay stands the mark. Thomas just laconically trots back to take his kick. Brown's deep. Did he go in that direction? No, he comes back to the corridor. McDonald marks. He tips it across the centre square, and Wright takes the mark, and he goes to Atley. Atley's at right half forward now, and nothing's changed because just as many players are inside the North Melbourne 50. It's just they've changed the angle a fraction. Kicks over the head of Brown in the Zeeble direction. Goldstein there as well. Clears those players, and Rich wants to usher it through for a minor score. Brent Harvey was lurking near the right behind post. It's quickly kicked in by Rich, and in the right back pocket for Brisbane. Redden marks, and he kicks it out towards the Stanley Street wing.
Gathered by Staker on the bounce. Hand passes infield straight to Ferrito of North. Ferrito's kick to Petrie, who marks 50 from goal.
Be nice to finish with 5, wouldn't it? 4's a good night, but 5's really, good solid night for a
bag
forward.
It's
a bag. Yeah.
Well, he's 8th all-time now for North Melbourne as far as games played on 284, and he's got Mick Martin in his sights, just 3 games ahead of him. Of course, Boomer leads that list. Petrie whacks it long with the right boot from 55. Got the journey easy, but just on the near side for a point. 4 goals, 1.
He's had a good night regardless. It's been very, very good, Drew Petrie.
98-32. 20 minutes played, final turn.
Rich to himself and out to right half back. Good pass to Aish. Marks on the edge of defensive 50 and gives to Rich, who's running through defensive 50, kicking to the corridor. This is when Brisbane's at its best. Hand pass to Zorko, breaks the line through the middle. Hand pass to Taylor. Taylor on the outside to Robinson, a little sloppy with the hand pass. Robinson's hand pass slapped down by Turner. Well played, came to Goldstein. He to Zeeble. Zeeble into the middle. Harvey takes the mark and holds it up. And he chips it out wide over the head of Swallow. Atley's there to gather inside the field of play just. And chip defensively to Zeeble, who marks on the defensive side of the wing for North. 11 goals the lead. North's milestones are going to be marked appropriately here. Zeeble kicks back inside the defensive 50. Del Santo takes the mark. He chips it. McDonald, he takes the mark in the left back pocket and goes out to the left half back flank for Gibson. Gibson, where is the manning up at the moment? He finds Higgins, defensive side of the wing, sweeps it over the top to another man on his own, Bastanak. Kick to half forward to another man on his own, Thomas. Not a man being marked on the field. Into the pocket, Petrie marks. Unmarked. Now he might get 5. Hard on the boundary line, squaring ball for Cunnington. Cunnington, 25 out. That was done with ridiculous ease from one end of the ground to the other.
I've seen Brisbane try and play that way throughout the night where they've transferred the ball from one side to the other, but they get held up on the wing and they can't penetrate their forward 50. That was far too easy with North Melbourne. Uncontested possessions all the way around the field and a shot on goal.
Cunnington almost directly in front and kicked from about 25 metres. Ben Cunnington makes the goal umpire work, but he too has scraped it home for another North Melbourne goal. Big smiles on the faces of the North Melbourne players as the lead blows out to 72 points at the 21-minute mark. 15-14, 104. Brisbane 4-8-32.
Get the salt for Bombers fans because Patrick Ryder is the man who's kicked 3 goals in the last quarter for Port Adelaide. Port are out by 14 points at the 17-minute mark of the final term there. Ryder's got 4 for the night. Port 17-8, 110 lead. Essendon 14-12, 96. Make it 17-9, 111. Another behind there to the Power, who lead it by 15 points with half the quarter left there. So Cunnington with his second of the night. North has 15 and leads by 12 goals. Mitch Robinson tries to burst through from the centre bounce. Had it for a moment, dropped it. It goes to the bottom of a pack, spews out Brisbane's way. Rush towards half forward, not gathered by Harris Andrews, who had a chance. It goes through his hands, and there's a free kick away from the play going North Melbourne's way, and it's Bastanak's ball. So Ryan Bastanak from left half back looks for options forward, and he's going to kick long towards Petrie, spoiled by Merritt. Ground level ball picked up by Harris Andrews, tackled by Petrie. Forces a neutral. Great stuff from the big man. And these big men, Petrie and Goldstein, the way they work at ground level, Josh Fraser, smile from ear to ear, seeing that role played beautifully, Josh. Ball thrown up in the air, left half forward for North. Half a chance for Dawson, couldn't pick it up for Brisbane. Harvey with a hand pass for North to Bastanak. He kicks to attacking 50. Whistle on play, marked by Swallow. Play to advantage. He hands to Lindsay Thomas. Thomas will kick it to Cunnington. One out at the top of the square. Nice spoil made by Justin Clark. Cunnington, though, gathers in the pocket, slips over, gets up, keeps going, kicks a goal.
Oh, good.
On his left boot. 3 for Cunnington, 16 for North. They lead by 13 goals. 16, 14, 110 to 4, 8, 32.
It'll be tough to review this one if you're Justin Lepage, Stars though. They just haven't done the basic stuff well enough tonight. The first quarter was really strange with the way they tried to play. They've shown flashes of their best where they've been able to move the ball quickly and take the game on, but just simple things like that, not corralling to the boundary, sticking your tackle. Too many players have gone to ground. They haven't executed their skills. Really difficult night for the Lions coaching staff.
Jay Schultz has kicked another for Port, so they're now out by 21 points with 8 minutes left in the game at Docklands.
Lions have only 4 behinds to their names for the second half. Taylor's tackled and gets a push in the back. He can send them forward. He's near the logo. Mays is breaking to left half forward. Cunnington getting back to spoil does just enough, but it was front on according to the umpire. No. And hang on, no, it's back towards the centre of the field for another misdemeanor. Okay, Louis Taylor's being escorted to scoring range, and Stephen Martin's in a push and a shove with Tarrant and needs to get out of it. So Taylor a chance to finally kick a goal for Brisbane. He's directly in front, 25 metres out. I didn't see what the 50 was for. I thought there was a chance that Mays would get the free kick for front on contact, but Taylor's in a much better position. Directly in front, kicking to the eastern end. Skipping in on the right, Boots, and kicking Brisbane's first goal since the 14-minute mark of the second term. At the 25-minute mark of the last, North's lead back to 72 points. 16-14, 110 to Brisbane, 5-8-38.
And optimistically, the man in charge of the big screen puts up a make some noise sign. The Brisbane fans are saying, you're kidding me.
Few sighs, groans.
Flogged by 12 goals. We've kicked 5 goals for the game. And that's one of the disappointing things, that the crowds continue to drop off here, and North Melbourne, traditionally not one of the bigger clubs, has made more noise here tonight. It's a special night for North, don't get me wrong, but it's just another sign of the times here, Stars.
1 goal 4 in the second half by the Lions. It's going to be an all-time record, isn't it, for low scoring at home.
Leuenberger runs through the centre bounce to win possession and kick Brisbane forward, and the kick is marked by the sticky fingers of Steph Martin. It wasn't a spearing pass in any sense of the word, but Louis got it inside 50, and there was gluey on the hands of Steph Martin to take the mark. Down low, about 35 to 40 metres out.
That was a really good grab, actually, for the big fella.
I think we've had a few question marks on his kicking, though, Stars, in recent times. I don't know, you're prepared to back him in from here?
Set shots.
Late in the game.
Give him a go.
Come on, Stars.
Yeah, okay, let's go. Put the house on it. Here we go. Here we go. Why not?
Out on the full! Out on the full to the left.
Right.
Mrs. Starcevich is falling for the divorce papers.
Get on the phone.
Get a tent. Thanks, Stars. You've made a planned last quarter entertaining.
It just happens too often to be a coincidence.
Well, you'll get another chance. Del Santos kicked it in straight to Martin. He's dished it off.
To Christensen. Christensen's kick smothered by McDonald. Ricochets on the 50 to Zorko, who's tackled, and he's really angry too. He wants to have a go at Higgins, who's right in his face, saying, little man, come on. And Zorko pushes him away. Not exactly big himself, Sean Higgins, but did have a little bit of a height advantage over.
Who's going to loan Stars at their house for a double or nothing? Just to get him somewhere to sleep tonight.
You might be heading to a camping store tomorrow, Stars. They've got some tent sales on at this time of year. Zorko off the ruck contest after a free kick. Advantage paid in the ruck, and McStay goes up, can't mark. Socket away by Thompson. Taken there by Garner. He gives a hand pass to Thomas. Thomas defensive hand pass. There's a boot on the ground. Who does it belong to? Ferrito gets a clearing kick for North up the wing. Clark's in front, punching towards the boundary line for Brisbane. Out it goes on the Stanley Street side, and looking through the binoculars over to that side, a sea of royal blue and white over there. North Melbourne fans everywhere, right near the North Melbourne race. What an ovation Brent Harvey's going to get when he's chaired off the ground.
Joe Danaher's kicked a goal for the Bombers to give them hope. 15 points to lead to Port. 6 minutes left in the game at Docklands. Here we've got about 90 seconds left in the game. Higgins with the ball for North Melbourne. Hand passes to Harvey. Doesn't go for goal. He hand passes backwards to Gibson, who kicks forward to Goldstein. Got there, couldn't complete the mark. Picked up by Mays of Brisbane. Hands it to Andrews. He to Redden. Redden chips to the pocket for Rich. Rich marks and kicks around the boundary line, marked by the sliding Christensen.
Does Brad Scott have a sense of fun? A minute to go in the game or so. Just don't worry about defensive pressure or whatever, Boomer. Just ghost off your man, open up the forward line, go forward.
Speaking of Brad Scott, he played the last time North Melbourne won here. That's the other part of the story here.
That's a good point.
Back in 2005.
Round 10. Here's Dal Santo looking to send North 40. Hand passes to Atley. Atley's 70 out. His kick's no good. Standing in front and marking is Harris Andrews. He hand passes to the pocket for Christensen. Christensen, chip pass outside defensive 50. Dawson takes the mark for Brisbane.
Empty out the front 50 for North and put Boomer down the goal square on his own.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
He's been cranky lately, Brad Scott, but he's surely got the sense of fun. Kick from McStay into the middle, marked by Martin. He goes to Christensen. Christensen kick not bad, marked in the corridor by Merritt. He hand passes to Rich, tries to shrug a tackle from Harvey, who got him. Just got his hand pass away according to the umpire. Rich goes in, Harvey bundles him over, pursues it out to the boundary line as he falls over, gets a creative hand pass to Tarrant, who kicks up the wing, gets past Lindsay Thomas, but he goes again and he kicks to the edge of 50. Goldstein takes the mark, wants to play on, chip over the top on the siren. It won't be a mark to North, but they have marked the rarest of football achievements on the right note. Brent Harvey's 400th game. North Melbourne by 72 points and into the AFL's top 8.
Join in the chorus and sing it one and all. Join in the chorus, North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.
28 points to North Melbourne at quarter time. Brisbane pegged them back in the second term. The margin was 21. North back out by 6 goals at three-quarter time. And in the end, the Kangaroos in Harvey's 400th, 16-14, 110. Brisbane 5-8, 38.
Chorus and sing it one and all. Join in the chorus. North Melbourne's on the ball. Good old North Melbourne, they're champions, you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you and me.
And a good group of North supporters here to mark the occasion. A 12-goal victory in a milestone night. Plenty of them. We might need more slaves than an episode of Game of Thrones to cheer everyone off the ground tonight, but the focus will be on Boomer, despite the 200-game milestone for Jed Adcock and the 100-game milestone for Sean Atley and Sam Wright as well. It's 400 up for the little number 29, and he's being interviewed by television at the moment, and as you'd expect, all of the Brisbane players coming across to congratulate him on becoming just the fourth man to reach that mark in the history of the VFL/AFL, and who's to say he's not going to get to Tucky, because well, he looks pretty good, doesn't he? Brent Harvey, how many touches tonight? He led them with 27 touches, so 426 is there for him, 427 to break the record. And interestingly, among the stats of Brent Harvey's career, looked up this week, all time, as numbers have been kept, he's fourth on the number of possessions all time, behind Robert Harvey, Kevin Bartlett and Craig Bradley. Apparently, that's a pretty good website that we use for a lot of our stats, so we can trust that. Across his career, averaging almost 21.5 possessions a game. And his longevity, amazing. His lowest number of games in a season was 2009, when he had a bit of an elbow issue and played 15 that year. And he's got the match ball, Brent Harvey, and there's plenty of North fans hanging around, and the Brisbane Lions players are aware of the occasion, and they are forming a guard of honour at the top of the North Melbourne race. All power to the young Lions, or predominantly young Lions, to be aware of this moment in the history of the game, despite being on the end of a 12-goal hiding. The game was a bit flat, certainly from half-time onwards, but this is going to be a nice moment to finish. The North Melbourne players form one side of the Guard of Honour. The Brisbane Lions players form the other side. And Brent Harvey is lifted to the shoulders of Michael Ferrito and Drew Petrie. 400 for Boomer and a 12-goal win to savour at the Gabba. Brent Harvey waves to the fans in Brisbane, and we can see the flashing of cameras trying to capture the moment on the outer side. He's now put to his feet, kisses his loved ones close at hand here, and a strong contingent of royal blue and white at the Gabba savour a special moment for one of their most special players.
And he'll be about to sing the song, Quentin, for the 217th time in his AFL career.
Yes. He's still got a way to go to get Tucky as far as the number of wins are concerned, though.
Yep.
Michael Tuck with 302 wins in his 426
Bad strike
games.
rate.
Wow. So I don't think if he gets Michael Tuck, he might get him over all games played, but he might not get that wins record. Amazing. We can see on the big screen Brent Harvey with a big smile on his face. Can we get to Zane Bowe, Jack? No, we'll try and get to him in a moment, but... yes, it's going to be a good scene in the North Melbourne rooms. Outside of that, in a sense, minor story of the season, the bigger story for North is that they got the job done here, and they're 8-8 with a run of games that Al mentioned a short time ago where they could certainly be confident about picking up more victories. Carlton, Melbourne and St Kilda in the next three for North Melbourne. Meanwhile, Port Adelaide leads Essendon late on at Docklands by 14 points. 19-9, 123 to the Bombers, 16-13, 109. Zane? And Brent Harvey's got a couple of his young ones in the circle with his teammates there to sing the team song after a 12-goal win. He is the milestone miracle man. Keeps that perfect record intact of winning those milestone games throughout his career. Craig Starcevich and Josh Fraser.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? It's a really good way to finish a bit of a drab game. But, yeah, fantastic. What an achievement. And top your team's possession count, if you don't mind, as well, in your 400th. So it's not like they're carrying you through to the end. You're actually carrying the team with you.
He's averaging 24 possessions a game this season. Maybe not as many tackles at times as would have been liked by the coach, but 27 and 2 goals tonight. Gee, I mean, if he didn't want to play, and I think David King said as much during the week, if he didn't want to play at North Melbourne next year and he wanted to play on, someone would want him.
Yeah, he's made a decent contribution tonight, that's for sure. He's been good.
It'd be wrong, though.
It wouldn't be right. North's got to let him go on. It was a beautiful moment, Quentin, to see him in the middle or his children with him in the ring singing the song, Cooper, Hudson and Lacey, and here he is talking to one of them now. It's just such a special moment for him. You don't see that very often, and he's got his 3 children. Game 400, I think that's going to top the game where he fought back from 5 possessions to have 44.
And I love the design of the Boomer jumper down the middle stripe. If you haven't seen them, the North Melbourne royal blue and white stripes tonight, you can just see, if you get a good shot, the word Boomer written down that middle stripe. So it's, in a sense, replaced that full stripe down the middle, and Boomer is written on that middle stripe. You have to look pretty closely. There's certainly
Yeah.
a number of the programs throughout the week. We got a good look at it.
And we just saw his father with him in the room as well, having a hug with Brent Harvey, and he actually presented Brent Harvey with his jumper in the rooms before the game. So this hasn't just been the Brent Harvey affair, it's been the whole family affair, and it's just been what a lovely moment for the whole Harvey family. He played 3 games with his brother Shane, who played a bit at Essendon as well. He was here tonight as well. Just tremendous.
So we'll see what we can do, getting to Zane Bojack in just a moment. The final score here, North Melbourne 16-14, 110 to Brisbane's 5-8-38. And the siren's about to sound at Docklands, and Port Adelaide's going to beat Essendon by 13 points. Game over, Port win. Port 12-9, 129, defeat Essendon 17-14, 116. So we have our 5 winners on the Saturday of round 17. Geelong, Adelaide, Fremantle, North Melbourne and Port. That final score at Docklands again, 20 goals 9, 129 to Essendon 17-14, 116. We'll give you more details from there and here in just a moment. But kick to kick taking place out in front of us here at the Gabba. Let's forget about the milestone for a moment, gentlemen. What do we take out of the game? Craig, Josh?
Well, from a North Melbourne perspective, Stars, it looks like they may have just been able to kickstart themselves, and off the back of really lacklustre performance from Brisbane. I expected a bit more from the Lions, to tell you the truth, Stars. I think we've seen enough this year to suggest that we should expect more, but they really didn't turn up tonight. And I don't know if the style of play is the right way to phrase it, but the way they played, particularly early, was